Oh God.
Three.
The Ultimate Universe is Marvel's, quite frankly, Marvel's best line of comics and has been an anchor point for Marvel for some time. But what if I told you that it might just be on the verge of ending?
Oh,
That, yeah, that was my reaction. That
hooray!
is what we're here to talk about today. There's a massive rumor that the Ultimate Universe is going to be concluding not too far from now, just about 6 months to go before the Maker arrives. And that might spell the absolute end of the Ultimate Universe. We're going to dig into that and a lot more things a little later on here today on the show. Thank you guys for joining us to have this conversation about the potential of the Ultimate Universe coming to a close. We've got Cale.
What's up, hamburgers? Everybody knows hamburgers are the alternate universe hot dog.
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
Okay.
Everybody knows that.
Marco.
Celsius. We're trying it out, guys.
You just got to let it ride, dude. You just got to throw it
Yep.
out there with confidence.
Yep. You don't get what's up hot dogs without confidence.
Not at all. Get you don't
Yep.
get you don't get hamburgers in an alternate universe without hot dogs.
Damn what anybody else says.
And I'm Sean. Thank you for being here, whether you are live or in the future. Dane Visser says, is this clickbait? That is an interesting question to ask with your very first appearance in our chat. No, it's not clickbait. We're here to discuss something that was recently said by somebody who writes an ultimate book, and we're going to dissect their statement. So, no, it's not clickbait. Hope you stick around and enjoy the show. We also have Harris with us. What's up, Harris? Uncaged is here. Good to see you. Rami Darwish says it should Fahrenheit in the Ultimate Universe. All right, I see you.
Just like America's the alternate universe of Europe
Yeah.
and the rest of the world, of course.
Hmm. Yes, indeed. We've got quite a few people with us. Thank you guys for being here. Smash the like button as we get into this conversation. Let's do it. All right. So, this rumor about the end of the Ultimate Universe is something that we've all asked. What is going to happen once the Maker unveils himself, once he comes out of that time bubble and is ultimately, presumably, defeated by the heroes? Um, what are they going to do? How are they going to proceed? Are they going to keep with the month to month storytelling? You know, how are things going to change? Are we going to see creative teams shift? What's the answer, right? Um, and so one person has actually given us an indication of what might happen. And so Zach Davison, who is the co-writer for Ultimate X-Men, of course, Ultimate X-Men is written primarily and drawn by Peach Momoko, but also co-written by Zach Davison. Um, and so he was asked over on Blue Sky um, about this, and he said, did a great interview about Ultimate X-Men and got to express that any of you who are waiting for the comic to be something other than it is, for some grand reveal where the real X-Men pop up or the Maker twists a magic dial, you will wait forever. The story is all there. Everything is there. We're working on issue 18 now. We have 6 more issues to go. If you haven't figured out yet that this is the story we are telling, and then he said, I mean, things can always change, but that was announced at the beginning of the series. It's supposed to be 24 months in real time.
Damn. To catch up to Ultimate X-Men, huh?
Not me.
Not, yeah, not me either. So those words threw everybody into a tizzy. Is the Ultimate Universe actually ending? Is that what he is saying here? Or is he just talking about Ultimate X-Men?
So, what it sounded like to me, based on what you just read, was I don't know. It sounded more like Ultimate X-Men to me.
Same. He's they are getting the book ending at 24, but world mayhaps goes on.
It's very interesting because not all of the Ultimate books are on the same issue number. So Ultimate Spider-Man was the first to launch, then maybe Ultimate Black Panther, but however it works out, they're not on the same issue number. So Ultimate Spider-Man will reach 24 first. And at some point, obviously, Ultimate X-Men will as well. If Ultimate X-Men is ending, okay, sure. But are they really going to close out Ultimate Spider-Man at that point? That just seems really crazy. But this is someone who is writing one of the books, making that suggestion. I could see Ultimate X-Men ending more so than the line ending, I guess.
Or or Marvel has a track record. We get to the 24 months, the maker's revealed, and then the book is launched with a brand new creative team. Hickman, guest artist Marco Cicchetto, Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I see the vision now, actually.
Well, you are a visionary. Should be your nickname.
That yeah, that I mean, there's a degree of that makes sense. Um, I don't know. I could also see it being like the maker coming back being like a cascade event. Like since you know, uh, Ultimate Spider-Man was the first one, we see it happen there, and then I don't know, Black Panther, and then Ultimate Spider-Man, and then finally Ultimates, where it all culminates, and then we get into the main event.
Yeah, well, it's weird because that line suggested a lot of things to a lot of people. And there are a lot of ways that this could all play out. Not the end of the Ultimate Universe per se, but the arrival of the Maker. Like, could it be a situation like what Cale just said, where it starts in Ultimate Spider-Man and it continues on throughout the other books? I'm not even all the way sure how they're going to handle that, and that's definitely something that I want us to talk about. But there's another aspect to this that kind of adds additional wrinkles, and we'll touch on that in just a second. Matt Fisher with the 499. Good to see you, Matt Fisher. If it ends, then it's just X books and Thor. I'm convinced Marvel hates Spider-Man fans. They might not hate Peter, but they sure hate us. Well,
Yeah,
Matt,
probably.
I don't hate you, Matt Fisher. Um, I guess he's saying if the Ultimate Universe ends, then the only good things to read are the X-Men books and Thor. I
So
would
the
say,
only good thing they have is Thor.
yeah, I would say then we're just reading Thor
Yeah,
because yeah, no. X books ain't it.
it'll be fun to see Spider-Man in space.
I am excited for that. Philosopher King. To me, it sounds like once the maker arrives, Act One of the story ends, and a new status quo begins. End quote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rami Darwish says Iron Lad will become the villain slash new threat, and that will start the new UV era. UV era. Ultimate
Ultimate
villain.
Verse. Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, Ultimate Universe. So that Zach wasn't the only person a part of the creative team to make a comment. Because Peach's co-writer Um, Yo Mutso, who I believe is also married to Peach, um, said, "Hello, sorry for the confusion. We don't know why Zach wrote that because we, and probably no one other than Hickman, really knows what's next, or even when it is planned to end." Okay, that's what Yo Mutso says. Now, you have to consider the fact that Zach probably wasn't supposed to say what Zach said at all.
I'll bet
E
this guy wasn't supposed to say anything either.
Even if it's true, regardless of the truth, there's no way that anybody's supposed to be talking about the end of the Ultimate Universe right now. So you have to believe, or you have to hold in your mind that Yo could be trying to cover up. That's
Hmm.
always a possibility. That
Let's
being said, we're hearing conflicting things from two people a part of the same creative team.
Yeah, but it's one of those situations where I feel like the first comment jumps the gun, right? And then you're right, and then the other one is just like, "Oh, hey, no, 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 sorry, sorry, I was totally confused. He's not even on the book."
Yeah, it's very weird that they're not on the same page here. Um, but let's take this at face value. Let's take at face value the idea for a moment that the Ultimate Universe is ending. I'm not saying we know that for a fact. I'm just saying let's assume that's truth. We get to the Maker, they defeat the Maker, yay, whatever. Has the Ultimate Universe been a success?
Boy, I don't think so. Well, I mean, in the span of it, I think it's I think it's tough to boy. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's, I think yes, it's successful in that it achieved the goal that it needed to, right? Uh it started with the Maker coming back. It followed the trajectory of all of these teams, these alternate ultimate variations of the line. It did it at the month pace, and then it defeated the Maker. That is a successful launch, successful timeline, and successful closure of the story arc. Whether or not it turns out to be good, satisfactory, I think that's secondary. But for the purposes of what Marvel needed to do as a mandate, that is successful. It it opened, it built up the hype, it had its line, and it closed. Bin.
I mean, but how can it not be? How can it being not necessarily good mean it's successful? Like, if it's good, people buy it. If it's not good, people stop buying it.
And I mean, the argument has been made that people are buying it, people like it for varying degrees to varying degrees for varying titles. But I think we've also talked about how we don't want it to elongate because they see the sales and therefore it just continues to peter out. If they had the story, they made their money, and then they wrap it up. Uh, I'll count that in the book as a check mark.
Yeah, there's no denying that the books are financially successful. I think all of them but Black Panther tend to do pretty well on a consistent basis. And I think they probably all outsell their mainline counterpart if they have one. And that's a great sign. And Marvel, who are known now more for what they cancel than what they publish, probably doesn't want to kill the golden goose in the sense that this is where success is right now for them from a financial standpoint. Um, Kyle, that's a very good point. People bought Zebwell Spider-Man, but if you didn't know any better, you'd think people hated it. That's exactly what I come on here and say all the time. The problem, though, is that the Ultimate line has a built-in potential end game with the Maker. And once the Maker is defeated, is that a jumping off point? We've all talked about the problems that we have had with the Ultimate line. One of the things that keeps it going, from a financial standpoint, from an intrigue standpoint, is the fact that we all know where the road is headed. That's very compelling. But once the road is traveled, if they try to pave a new road, do we walk it?
I
Gotta make.
you'd have to really convince me, do a lot of work for it to be something that I think uh, you'd have to really compel me, right? Because like again, because the story will have wrapped, because the mandate will have been successful in my eyes. Now it's like, okay, part two, and in the Discord I was talking about Chainsaw Man yesterday, and there's I read part one, all the 100 issues, but there's a reason I haven't gone back to for part two. There was a gap. I finished the story that I needed to finish, and then that's it. I haven't jumped back in. I agree that this would be a jumping off point for people because I've done that in the past for other books, and this was the story that needed to be told. Now you have to really sell me in on something for me to get back. What are they doing? Why I have to reflect on why I even liked living in this world in the first place. And I'm getting frustrated with some things like Ultimate Spider-Man. The Ultimates is still I'm still cool with, and I need to catch up on Ultimate X-Men. Like I'm not as enthralled already.
Yeah, I don't know how interesting the world that we've built in the Ultimate Universe is. Like we're seeing a lot of like worldwide um social change in Ultimates, but how is that being reflected in Ultimate Spider-Man or Ultimate X-Men or Ultimate Wolverine? Things are so segmented. How is that going to be reflected in part two when the wall crumbles down? If that's a road they want us to travel, they better plant some fucking flowers.
Yeah, it's weird because I do feel that the movement in the universe has been snail's pace, and it just feels like nothing big can happen. And that's frustrating. Like I'm really trying to think about like as a universe, what are the biggest things that have happened so far? And there really isn't anything like majorly standout that has occurred. The Hulk and Ultimates fight for sure was a big moment. Um, Beyond that, I'm really not sure. Like in terms of big things that have occurred, I can't really speak to any.
Harry died.
He didn't,
Oh,
but
that's
It,
right.
yeah, we find that out in the same issue. Like,
yeah, there was no moment where I thought Harry was dead. Like
remember
let
how?
not even one
Wait,
issue passed,
yeah,
and I like it was wasn't a thing.
remember that cool moment where we got to live with uh Peter's son, and when he got his Spider-Man suit. Yep.
Yeah, that was great. Rami Darwish with the 10 spot. Thank you. That's a reminder that super chats are indeed open, and we appreciate all of you who support the podcast because you guys are really our sponsors. Rami says, what I am missing. Where does Black Panther and the character from Ultimate Wolverine, even Ultimate X-Men, stand in the greater scheme of the Maker storyline? Hey, I'll do you one better. Where does Spider-Man stand in the grander scheme of the Ultimate storyline?
Yep. He was just gonna rock up with the Green Goblin and help out the Ultimates. Like, Oh shit, you guys are war criminals. Aren't they the reason that uh maybe not. Isn't Tony Stark the reason that Aunt May died?
The building was destroyed that she was in or she was nearby or whatever. Um, but I don't remember if Tony actually did that or if that's the in-universe belief. I don't
That's
remember.
the yeah, I don't think that's been resolved. I feel like that was cover up.
Yeah.
But like it stands to reason that Harry and Peter would be really pissed still at the Ultimates and Tony.
But that's never been addressed. Although Peter met Tony, we know he met Tony.
That's right.
And Harry, did Harry also meet Tony? I
Yeah,
think he was
yeah.
there that day. And there was no conflict. So
Okay, there was no conflict. Another issue that
I don't they must not blame him because if they did, there would have been some kind of a crazy conflict,
yeah,
I imagine. Um Munster says they blamed it on Stark. So then where was the conflict?
yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta go back and read that issue, I guess, because I don't remember. Um But yeah, no, Rami brings up a great point that is problematic. Why don't we feel more of a connective tissue to the larger conflict? Like even if you look at Ultimate Black Panther, a book that I actually think is really good. In that book, Black Panther has been dealing with Moon Knight, which is Ra and Khonshu together, but then also dealing with the living vibranium, which is all very interesting. And the Moon Knight is empowered by the Maker to control that region of the world. But still, like when the Maker drops, is Black Panther gonna reflect that? Like he just feels so far from that.
I mean, none of them are touching on each other. Like the most we got was that issue of Ultimate X-Men where like in the TV stuff's happening in the background and you get to see the other characters and other things happen in the world. And it's interesting as you guys were saying that. I wonder also if because of how distinct one how distinct the narratives have been, but also how distinct the art styles even are. Like
Mhm.
the meshing of those worlds is gonna feel drastic. Like Ultimate Wolverine doesn't even feel like it's in the universe,
To me, Ultimate X-Men doesn't feel like it's in the universe from a visual standpoint.
right? And how do you blend that? How do you blend Peach Momoko and a Chichetto?
I don't
Or
think you do.
Messina, as it were.
Well,
I don't think you do. I think that um, from a visual standpoint, they're all going to exist in their own space. And I don't see a scenario where Ultimate X-Men is suddenly including, say, the Ultimates.
Yeah.
It'll probably resolve itself, the stories that it has been dealing with. The problem with that book, if we're talking about that book, is that what it's dealing with feels so segmented from everything else that it honestly feels like it's in its own universe completely.
Which, frankly, would be fine.
Yeah, that's not even a bad thing because quite frankly, X-Men books tend to feel like that anyway. So, sure, that's fine. I guess I'm thinking about it from the connective tissue aspect down the road. Blur Jose with the 5 spot. Thank you, buddy. Morning, pals. Coming to you from the future. You guys are doing well here. Oh shit,
Oh,
thank you.
thank God.
hell yeah.
Have we hit 6K yet?
He came from the future. We're at 10, I think.
Oh shit. Wow, Blur, thank you.
In the bank account?
Well,
Well, I mean, listen, we're doing a little better than that. Um
Damn.
Philosopher King, the larger conflict is so far removed from all these stories. when the maker arrives, it's going to be a jarring shift. I want to grab on that because it's impossible. Well, it is possible, but we're not going to talk about the Ultimate Universe without referencing Absolute and what's happening over there. And you could make the same argument in the sense that the Absolute Universe hasn't in any way addressed the larger story. But that's the trick that DC pulled off because that's not where you're supposed to look for that. You're supposed to look for that in Mainline. Absolute Universe is free from the shackles.
I'd also argue that the absolute universe, at least we're still only at, what, issues 9 and like 4
Yeah.
of like the various titles, between like Superman and then Flash and Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter. I think it also does a better job of making a continuity in the world. If you look at Superman, which has, is really dealing with the Lazarus corporation, as like a whole, we've already seen echoes of that in Flash. And it's like, okay, they are actually living in the same world. The ultimate titles just don't feel like that.
And I think it's also the not mandate, but I feel like it from the start it was expressed as they won't be crossing over. They have 2 years of story. They're gonna live in the spaces that they need to first to allow themselves to build up. Whereas I think Marvel and the Ultimate Universe has the baggage of, well, Marvel is so connected and united, and they're all experiencing the same tragedy. To your point, Cale, right? Like that stuff's being dealt with in the Ultimate line, not in Mainline, and so like you're beholden to also having to react. All the books have to react, but when they don't, and we brought this up on Palsverse on Thursday, it at what point will Ultimate X-Men truly make contact with the Maker?
Right. Yeah, I don't it's like the maker's not fucking Onslaught. Like like you're not gonna we don't know what he's up to. We don't know exactly what his power level is or anything like that, but like I don't see how all the books are suddenly going to have every character fighting the maker. Like that feels more to me. I mean, if we're just talking comics, that feels more to me like an event book where, whatever the story is and, a creative team will tackle that. I don't see all the Ultimate books suddenly becoming about that character's fight against the Maker. I don't think Ultimate Spider-Man is going to see Peter literally doing fisticuffs with the Maker. I think that's going to take place inside of an event.
Mm.
These books have their own stories that have to resolve. The problem is that they don't feel that connected to what the maker is doing. Not every Ultimate book, well, almost everyone, um, even sees the main characters fighting a lieutenant of the maker. Because Kingpin is,
Yeah.
but I don't think Ultimate X-Men has a lieutenant of the maker in the picture.
I think the whoever's leading the Children of the Atom might be.
Okay. But we don't, I'm not reading the book anymore. So, but we don't know
We
who,
we know who that is. Yeah.
okay.
It's been revealed. They're leading like with the Shadow King. So yeah, that stuff is there.
But I'm asking you, do we know who the leader is of the Children of the Atom?
Yes, it's been revealed. Yeah,
Who is it?
I'm forgetting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uncaged says Viper, whoever that is.
Okay.
I know at some point Sunfire was I think the leader of that realm
Okay.
somehow or another.
Okay, then they are all dealing with at least a lieutenant of the Makers group. So that's probably the closest tether we're really going to get for all these books except Ultimates. Ultimates is the only one that actually feels like it's on a track towards the maker. All the other ones just kind of feel like they're doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Is there, and taking a little step back, if we get to 24 months, we get to the maker, and uh, he doesn't get defeated. You know, this was part one. You know, you hit me 3 times on the head, and now I have to go to the next world. And like, how does that
Princesses in another castle, et
exactly
cetera, et cetera.
right? How do you receive that? How do you feel about that? If we're maybe not 24 months, but just like another larger story arc within this world.
I personally don't hate that, but they're like at that point they'll have to get rid of the countdown. Which is like I think that's fairly obvious. Um, but like, not that long ago, Hickman said that, it was pretty clear that the month to month storytelling has been frustrating, I think, both for the creatives and the audience. Um, so like, if everyone's defeated and the maker continues, then we have to get a new method of this storytelling.
Yeah, I personally, you know, good story is good story. So if they're gonna tell a good story, then I don't really care where they go in terms of strictly talking about whether the maker is defeated or not. I don't need the maker to be defeated when he comes out of his shell. That's fine. But I definitely do need the month to month stuff to go. That has to go. That being said, it's kind of weird because in a way, I think in order for the ultimate line as a whole to feel like it can move forward, I think the maker has to be defeated.
Maybe he convinces Tony that he's right and can use time or whatever the fuck, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting thing to think about. Like what is the right way to go after the maker comes out of his shell? Again, we don't know what he's been doing in there.
Yeah.
Because
It,
that city, I don't think is frozen. It's just that they can't leave. But I don't
yeah.
remember if it's frozen or not. Maybe chat can definitively say it. Right.
Oh, that would be awesome if he came out like fucking Broly or something.
Super Brolic after
Just
coming out of that.
mega ripped and
Yeah.
like
Hell yeah.
hex out his asshole.
Matt Fisher with the 1999. Thank you, Matt,
Ooh.
buddy. I just explained Jim Starlin's new universe, how that led to the Ultimate Universe 1.0. Sam Jackson's Nick Fury happened, how Ultimatum screwed everything, how Dead was dead, and how this universe came about to my passenger. Oh my God, dude. Well, so we know that Matt Fisher drives Uber. And so that means that Matt is talking to his passenger about all this comic book stuff. Turn him into a fan. Turn him into a fan of this podcast, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, are you listening right now? I Is there someone in an Uber listening to us right now? Hey, what's up, my man? Did you remember the milk?
I gotta send Matt. You gotta give me your address so I can send you some business cards, bro. You gotta hand them things out during your rides. Um, Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Uncaged with a helpful comment here. Viper controls
Meister.
Meister, who controls the Atom cult, but several characters are sort of X-Men with ties to the cult, so the mutants are choosing sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So there's
Uh,
like a mutant civil war going on, it sounds like?
They're like like people who have already been involved in the cult. They're because they're friends with the kids. oh, we're still friends with you. We're still friends. Like, oh, but the cult's evil. Like, so um, I haven't gotten to the part where that resolves. I was on last like issue 12, 13, I think.
Okay.
Uh, Dane says that time is frozen for the Maker.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got to read Ultimate Universe again, Ultimate Invasion again. I keep saying that. I got to just do it. I got to just do it because I don't remember a lot of this stuff.
Well,
Um,
6 months until the maker, so you got time.
you're right.
The way,
Uh,
not the way these books are coming out.
Maybe that's the book club for that month.
hopefully not. Gabra Nerd says, but is it necessary for all the comics to have a connection to the maker? Like, I enjoy Ultimate X-Men because it's separate from everything else. Well, Gabra Nerd, I mean, based on what we're talking about here, it does have a connection to the maker. Because if Viper is a lieutenant of the maker, then that's the connecting piece. And all it would take for it to read for all these books to reach a satisfying conclusion unto themselves is for the lieutenant of the maker in that book to be defeated. Like Ultimate Spider-Man, the track is Spider-Man versus Kingpin, right? In terms of that's the lieutenant that he's dealing with. So Kingpin, by the end of the 24 issues, has to go down. I'm not saying that the whole story has to be resolved and it has to be sunshine and rainbows and there can't be threads for the future. But within the 24, Kingpin got to go.
Sure are on
Maybe.
track for that, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Don't feel like it. Matt Fisher with a 199. There was also a passenger during Snow Bunny. Oh my goodness gracious.
Wow.
The Snow Bunny Blizzard, man.
Got to imagine we didn't make a new fan with that conversation. But hey, I
Oh no,
come on here to
we
tell the
definitely
truth.
did with that one.
I went on OmniDog's channel, OmniDog's Vault, and I think that he's got a different crowd, I'll say, than we do. And I think they were turned off by the Snow Bunny conversation because OmniDog got a kick out of it. He really thinks it's funny, but I don't think his audience particularly enjoyed that. So when I went on his channel, it was kind of like he was avoiding that topic, even though there were certain people in the chat who wanted us to have it. I thought that was really funny.
Weird.
Well, OmniDog's an older gentleman, so he's got to
Oh, I'm not
keep
saying he's weird for wanting uh to avoid it.
yeah,
I wanted to avoid it at the time.
I hear
I
you.
still want to avoid it.
Nah, lean right
Well,
into it.
yeah, exactly.
I'm an older
Um,
gentleman.
Ah, that's it.
all the shit we talk about on this show, we can't talk about what I like. Fuck that.
I
Um,
never said we couldn't.
oh, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general. Um, hey, what's up, Gavin? Gavin Gidry, famous Marvel and DC artist, says, where do you land on Lil Smokies? What are those?
The little sausages. Most of the time, they're in
The
barbecue
cans.
sauce.
Oh, like the
Hmm.
Vienna sausages?
Vienna sausages. Yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
slaps, bro, and a nice
yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
rice.
He came in a rice. Interesting.
What?
I've only ever had them in like, I mean, obviously I've had them from the can or whatever. But like other than that, like in toothpicks on like a party plate or something.
Not just eating that. Gotta have it with something. Chop them up, slice them up, little coins almost, and then just toss into like a nice white rice. Adds a little salt, adds a little flavor.
Wild. All right.
Try it. Got a rice cooker?
Oh, yeah, I've got a rice cooker.
Easy, dude. Right there.
wow. Oh, pigs in a blanket. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Uh,
They're not pigs in a blanket.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I want to be clear about that.
let's.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I've heard of that. I've never heard of a little smoky. Okay, so they are different things. All right. Yeah. So my critique says Ultimates doesn't feel like a big enough swing to me. Ultimate Black Panther is a good Black Panther book, but not that different to 616 Black Panther. Yeah, that's true. But does it have to be that different? I mean, well, according to Mike, it just says it's not a big enough swing. So that's valid. Like to me, I don't come to these universes specifically for them to be tremendously different than Mainline. Um, I do look at it as an opportunity to do different things, but not doing different things isn't like a cardinal sin for me personally. But I can understand that perspective. I get that.
Yeah, I think my perspective is that things should be different enough. Like for all its faults, I think the hook of Spider-Man being like he's married with kids, like that's enough.
Yeah.
That's just the execution isn't playing for me.
It's enough, even though it's happened in Mainline.
Well, the kids aspect hasn't.
Even if you took away all that and just said that Spider-Man's career starts when he's in his 30s, that's a massive difference. I don't think it's fair to say that the books haven't taken a big swing. In the sense like compared to Absolute, I mean, like there are a lot of things in the Absolute universe that are the same as well. So like it's like how much more different from Mainline is Absolute Superman than Ultimate Spider-Man? I would say Ultimate Spider-Man is actually more different.
Yeah.
Is it a better book? That's up to you. So yeah, I don't know. Ultimate X-Men is about as different as it could possibly be. Of all the books, Ultimate and Absolute, Ultimate X-Men is the most different. So again, I think it's just an execution thing. It's like, do you like these books or not? And I like the Absolute books more, but I don't know that they're more different.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
But to get back to the point here, the Ultimate Universe ending right now and when I say right now, I mean Maker pops out, is defeated, whatever. If things ended right there, I think that would feel way too soon. And I have said before that I don't want them to milk this. I want them to tell the story that makes sense to tell and get out before we get into the original Ultimates territory, where it just was like, oh my God, this is, it got bad at the end. But it just doesn't feel like it's ready. It doesn't feel like it's ready to be over.
Yeah, there's still a lot of meat on the bone that like does feel a bit wasted. Relationships that, we could live in. Um, there's an entire new world that's being built in the Ultimates that we've gotten to spend almost no time in.
I mean, the month to month format, you could have had probably like in an otherwise unencumbered space, you probably could have made a few of those things arcs.
Yeah.
And like we would have had those explorations. We would have had the development for characters. But it's not what they're interested in focusing on. And okay,
It's so weird. Like I really think if you love storytelling and you love the way that comic stories are told, like this is a very interesting experiment because Absolute has traditional storytelling arcs, which means that really very little time has passed in the Absolute universe compared to the Ultimate universe, in which the amount of issues that have released is the same amount of time that has passed in that book, whatever book you're talking about. So if you're talking about Ultimate Spider-Man, 18 months have passed. If you're talking about Ultimate X-Men, 8 months, whatever it is, right? Whereas in Absolute, very little time has passed. Yet, somehow, in Absolute, it feels like they've covered far more ground. It's so bizarre. I have never seen anything like this.
Yeah, the first arc feels like over a couple like weeks maybe, if that. Then the couple days with Breeze. Now we're on to like the next stuff. So maybe at most a month or two.
Well, I think too, setting it alongside what's happening with All In, I think is giving us a bit more motion. It's keeping that wheel turning.
Yeah, I mean, We Are Yesterday is an event that I guess tangentially relates to what's going on with All In and everything else, but um it's the connection is there. Gorilla Grodd had the Omega symbol on him. Time is fucked up, which is partially to do with Darkseid's death. So there are things being addressed that relate to the overall story. It's just not happening in absolute, so those books are unencumbered. But it's just very weird that the series that's moving at a more traditional pace and not taking on that monthly pace feels like it's moving faster. And that's something that the Ultimate Universe has to resolve. It cannot continue this going forward because it just feels stilted.
Can't live and stuff. And that beside that being the biggest like criticism we have on it, I want to live in the universe because stuff that Camp has built out in the Ultimates is really interesting. But I want to see the fruits of all that labor.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree.
Gabbard says it seems like we're in Act One. Peter has only had one villain with a major connection so far, which is Fisk. Yeah, that's the connection. Like that feels like it's all it's going to be because it's leading up to the Maker coming back. You defeat the lieutenant, and then Finn.
I like the combination of these two comments. The one you just read, Marco. Um, feels like we're in Act One. Peter only has one villain with a major connection, which is Fisk. Still, and then my critiques, um, for me, kind of continues the thought. They are separate thoughts, but it says Ultimates is too cluttered. I feel like it needs a companion book. I think that's sort of like I don't, these two individuals probably don't feel necessarily the same way about their two comments, but like that also feels like uh an issue that the Ultimate Universe is having is like so much is happening in the Ultimates, but nothing is happening anywhere else. And at the same time, there's so much happening in the Ultimate Universe in the Ultimates. There's momentum, but there's no motion.
The problem for me with Ultimates, the book, is strictly that it's introducing things that it has no interest in dealing with.
Yeah.
And that is never interesting to me. Now, granted, some of the threads have been coming together, like the Luke Cage issue, introduced him and introduced the incarcerated people aspect of the story, which we're now seeing that they're gonna almost be like an army um that the Ultimates will have access to, this revolution. But we have also seen things like the War for Asgard, which feels like it has nothing to do with any of this shit and definitely feels like it needs its own book. Like you want to talk about a book needing a spin-off, that needs a spin-off.
And especially when in the last issue of Ultimates, Thor basically told Tony to piss off.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
Uh I don't know. Gabbernerd said, "Do you think that after the defeat of the Maker, Rita's Doom could be the new great villain of this universe?"
No, uh,
It's a lot more likely to be Tony.
yeah, gonna go too far. And based off the last issue, also he's like really toying with different things, with different modes of trying to like, I need to save the world at all costs, and that feels like a slippery slope. Whereas Doom has been the one to kind of be like, tell things back, reveal things. Hey, we need to think about all this stuff. Tony's just full pedal to the metal.
Well, I'm not so sure about that because Tony and Doom have both done things that have been questionable. Because Doom also used the time machine, which they were supposed to have sworn off, and concealed that. He lied about that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Dennis Camp is setting us up to question which one of them will go bad. Like, is that actually a part of the story, or are we inferring that? And I'm with you. I think one of them is going bad. I just don't know if that's what we're supposed to be thinking about.
Fair.
It's interesting though.
Man, it would be so cool if it was Peter.
Wild.
Dude's a bum. Who's he a threat to?
Like
This version,
Spider-Man. Yeah.
this version of Spider-Man is non-threatening. I just don't like who's he beating? He hasn't beaten anybody. He beat the Shocker.
Or
Barely.
Barely. Lucas Holner says, I think all the problems would go away if we drop the 1 month later gimmick and let writers tell stories in the way they have done for basically all of comics history. Look, it's an experiment that they tried and I think was a failure. I don't think it helped any book. None.
hampering. Yeah.
Like, yeah, like it feels like Dennis Camp is using it the best, but even still, like we're not getting to live in moments and see consequences or even live with our team.
The weird thing is, I think Dennis Camp is mitigating the problem it causes the best. It's
Yeah.
it's hurting all the books. It's just
Yep.
hurting that one the least. And that makes me it's oh man, I wish we could have like a behind the scenes, you know, like these creators talking about the decision to do this because I have to imagine that any person who's written a comic book would understand why this would be a problem. And so that makes me question, other than a fun gimmick, why did they do this?
I mean, it feels to me like addressing the countdown and giving it real time stakes and giving it a deadline. But like you say, that's just a gimmick.
Yeah. It's not actually like it's nothingness. It's
Yeah.
just a gimmick. You could reach the same point without that.
Yeah.
Is there I was gonna ask, is there an absolute book that you think the month to month gimmick might be effective on? If it truly is just the technique of month to month that is hampering the book, can we test that by thinking about what that might look like on an absolute title? Um, and the only one that I thought of that maybe could pull it off would be like Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. Maybe the Flash. Because I think there's a degree of like his progression that would make a lot of sense if you added like a bit of a time skip.
Like measurable progression.
Yeah, and you can like see the things he's done in the background, and it's like, oh yeah, well he has super speed, of course.
Martian Manhunter in a way already feels like it's doing that, but it's not doing that. Like it's just doing whatever it's doing. It just sort of feels like that. Um Absolute Flash, okay. The last issue I can recall, Flash meets Grodd. He's being chased by the rogues. He meets Gorilla Grodd. He's that little chimp or whatever.
Little green guy.
Uh, yeah. If you leave that moment and then the next issue is a month later and Flash is no longer being chased by the rogues, then again, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is like, I mean, he would have to still be being chased by the rogues. Like even the the time skip that happens in the next issue, it's still a couple of days, but he's being chased by the rogues. It's just it's a problem that he will have to deal with. I don't know, maybe being better um executed better.
I don't think I've ever read a comic that I think should do this. I don't think I've ever read a comic that should do this. I don't think I've ever read a comic that would be enhanced, certainly, by this gimmick. No. You would have to make, like, the only way, in my opinion, that this could work is one book, one title that had a direction and an end game, and the entirety of that one book was based around that gimmick. And I still think that would be a gargantuan effort because of the way that comic books function. It's just not enough time. It's just not enough time. Even a TV show, you could do it on a TV show because you've got, theoretically an hour to tell your story. But once you get to the end of that episode, how do you then start the next one? It's not a thing that should be done.
Samuel Summers with the $5 says the monthly format would work better if it stopped acting like the comic takes place over a couple days. They kind of did that gimmick. What was it at the over the new year? It was like the next day was the next month, right? So like they kind of got away with that. Um, and maybe there's something to be said about multi-day things happening in the comic, but then at that point, you're not isolating a time frame, and then you're just having a regular comic.
Yeah, dude. If 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 I call you every month and we only speak once a month, right? Every single time we talk, a month has passed. Like, things happened. We'll have stuff to talk about every single month. A month is a long time. And in comics where you have to have propulsion, you can't tell me that Ultimate Spider-Man picks his ass in the margins of these issues. What the fuck is he doing?
Deep in that crack.
His family was sitting out in the fucking desert for 30 days. More than that, because there were multiple issues where they were in the desert. So, what does school think about where the children are? Like, just one example.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. Gavin points out in most mediums, when they do the real time thing, they actually compress time and have each real world unit convey a specific condensed moment in time consecutively, like 24. But this
Yes.
is almost the opposite.
Yes. That's a fantastic uh comparison piece. Have you guys watched 24 at all?
No.
Seen an episode or two.
It's a phenomenal show. And it does this in the opposite way. Exactly what Gavin laid out. Every
Mm.
episode's an hour, and every episode, everything that happens in the episode takes place in that 1 hour. So every season of 24 is only 24 hours. Everything you see happens within 24 hours.
Amin points out that 52 is a great example. Weekly, and every issue is a week.
Yeah, and that works too. A week that's fine. A month is just too long.
Time increments, yeah.
Yeah. Good to see you, Amin. Happy you're here. Kyle, I have to believe this opens them up for a later plan to write fill-in stories that take place during the month-long gaps. Otherwise, it's a massive lost opportunity. All right, Kyle, but like why though, right?
I have to tell you, it's going to be a massive lost opportunity.
Yeah, they're not doing that. Why would we see later on when it's irrelevant what happened in those margins? We're going to see Peter taking shits. Like, the way the story is constructed, nothing happened. That's the problem. Those margins, nothing happened.
Like, yeah, like even even the relevant moments of, we've referenced it a couple of times here, but like Richard getting the Spider-Man suit, right? That's that's a significant moment that now they're just kind of peppering in Peter's reaction month by month.
Right.
So now anything we would get from that moment, that we hadn't seen over that month, we're just kind of getting later. So what's the point of going back to it?
We've got 100 people with us right now. Thank you for joining us. We really
Whoa.
appreciate you hanging out. Always like to see when we get over 100 of you with us. And so to commemorate that, what we're going to do here in just a few moments is we're going to give away some channel memberships.
Whoa.
We're going to give
For
away some channel
free?
memberships for free,
Free
pro
Whoa.
bono,
premium.
gratis.
Damn, who got you talking like that?
Dude, I'm Spanish. What do you mean?
I thought maybe a girl walked up on you.
No, I'm
Say
Dominican.
gratis.
So we're gonna get those channel memberships in your hands in just a moment, but I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the wonderful people who make this podcast possible and support this show. We are sponsored by you guys. Ain't no Marvel, ain't no DC around these parts putting money in our pockets. So we need you. And that's why we want to thank you. Special shout out to our Palsverse legends, the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound, Starcross Catherine Stars, the Red Spiral, Spiral Storm, Adam and Bernie the Best Boy, the Spear of Judgment, Jay's Jumble, Jalen Jackson, the Sanguine Sorcerer, and Entertain Me. Oh, and Safe Haven, Hayden's Hideout. And thank you to Palsverse members, the Night Stalker, Harris Dajinski, Brian Demolisher Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the True Trudeau, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dameron, Christian Uncaged, Always Laughing, the Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, The Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89, Robert Runback Casterback, Pete the Dreamweaver Collins, James Just Jamming Jones, Paul Powerhouse Smith, Neon Knight the Cosmic Avenger, Matthew the Shade Cosmo, BJ Kicks, the Living Blade, Bosran Deer, the Grand Alchemist, Chop Harder Alchemist, John Barrier B, and Doomsday David Melendez Doria. If you did not hear your name and you're sure you should, stick around because we will get to you all a little bit later on. But now I have a responsibility to pass out some channel memberships. So let's do that here. Let's do that right now.
Drum
Sending
roll.
out 5 channel memberships.
Got you. Refreshing the page. Oh shit, there they come through. Uncanny Suit. Carter Mitchell. On your left. Whoa. JNYC and Steven Schnee, the CD Junkie.
Mm.
I got a I got a message just to me that says you could be a lucky recipient of the Comics Pals membership with if you just allow gift memberships. Nope, I turned that off for a reason.
Congrats to the winners. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you hanging out with us, choosing to spend your Saturdays with us. Can I get some emojis in the chat? Don't need any money from you. Can we just get some emojis in the chat? That's all. That's all we ask. Speaking of money, Samuel Summers spending 20 of those comic books on us. My favorite comic book run of all time is the original Ultimate Spider-Man. I absolutely would love a deep dive on that series. It was great because it always felt like something was happening. Dude, I completely agree. Here's a fun fact for you, Samuel, as a fan of that book. Ultimate Spider-Man 1, the OG Ultimate Spider-Man, his entire life that we got to see was shorter than the life of the current Ultimate Spider-Man than we have seen. Everything that happened in the life of the original Ultimate Spider-Man took place within about 1 year. And so he lived and died within that 1 year. Whereas current Ultimate Spider-Man, comparatively, has done almost nothing. That's the difference between compressed and decompressed storytelling. That's how compressed versus how decompressed you can tell stories in comics.
Here?
1 year.
That was so long. Like that entire run.
It's insane. It's insane. And I would love to talk about that series at length at some point. I never have had the opportunity, and that would be a ton of fun. There's a lot to say about it. Gavin Guidry says if y'all do a deep dive, you need to invite me along. I own entirely too many original pages from it to not be involved. Wow.
Whoa.
See that shit.
Dude, you got to jump on. Yeah, you got to jump on video here and show us what you got. That's pretty amazing. You must have paid a pretty penny.
Many a penny.
Hmm.
Yeah, I saw
That
the. I think he
He's
shared the
he's
more recent stuff that he took. He had gotten, and just like the inks on stuff. Man,
he just said he bought 5 more this weekend.
yeah. Oh, sick.
what?
Damn.
You're a beast.
Are there like
You're
issues you look for, or is it just as it comes? I'm curious about that.
Hmm.
wow.
Surely it would have to be just as it comes.
You don't think there'd be like, oh, this is one of my favorite issues. I'd like.
Well, yeah, of course, but like I would imagine your specific issue probably, you know, doesn't come up that often. Like you gotta see it and then take the chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Superjob says praising Bendis for his compressed storytelling in comparison to current Ultimate Spider-Man is wild. It's it, it's interesting, right? Because I think back in the day, I don't know if we would have called it compressed. That's the thing. Like compare the original Ultimate Spider-Man to the original Amazing Spider-Man. Original Amazing Spider-Man to me would be more compressed. Or yeah, more compressed.
Yeah, it all happens in that issue. It's all a moment in time for that
Yeah,
day, and then the next one is whatever the next villain comes up.
Mm, mm.
right. Whereas Ultimate Spider-Man is the exact opposite of that. It's all arcs and long form storytelling. But compared to the Ultimate Universe of today, that was compressed. Crazy. Samuel Summers with the $2 says, I'll put 50 more dollars for a USM deep dive. Brother, if you want to do that, I will tell you, I guarantee that we will do an Ultimate Universe deep dive. Guarantee it.
Ultimate Universe 1.
Yeah, the first one. You would be making my day because I would love to do that. Gavin says Bendis did decompressed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
exactly.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Gabber Nerd with the 5 spot. We need a USM OG deep dive. Apparently, you guys really want that. Thank you, Gabber Nerd. Okay, you're showing me something right now. Comics Bucks talk.
They have spoken.
Last Young Renegade said something interesting. That's a great show of how much you feel is happening in your life as a teenager versus how little happens as a 30-something-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's a tremendous point, dude. Whoa, Hayden's Hideout dropping 10 Comics Pals channel memberships. Wow. Wow.
We got Mike Critiques, Tevia Smolka, Kenneth Williams, Zari Severino Jr., JD, Jack G, Tigaro, MPL Murphy, World at War Comics, Last of Miken, Gemini King. Wow.
Congrats.
Oh yeah.
Ton of lurkers in there.
Hayden, thank you, brother. That is a phenomenal drop. Really appreciate you.
We can't even afford to do 10. Well, maybe we can now. Samuel
Right.
Summer just dropped that 50 on us.
Oh my God.
He said, at least the first run. Said, hang on. Yes, chef. Here we go. Order up.
Cook it up right
Dude,
now.
Samuel, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I guarantee that you will get that Ultimate Universe deep dive. That might even be the summer project. Now that you put it like that, that might have to be the summer project. Thank you.
Hey, 6 months remain. Way too long for a summer, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. You guys are great today. Really appreciate it. Lucas Hallner says, I have all of the first Ultimate Spider-Man Omni Format Volume 1, Death of the Ultimate Spider-Man, yet to crack them. Oh my God, dude. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Let me pitch this. August, Ultimate Universe month, Ultimate Universe Book Club, Ultimate Universe Deep Dive.
Book it. Book it.
And maybe we can get Bendis on this fucking program.
Can we
Make the siren call.
maybe we put it on blast? Yeah, why not? Sending out emails right now. Give me a second.
I've reached out multiple times. The man doesn't respond to me. I see him on channels without naming names that are smaller, far smaller than ours. Bendis, you need to come over this way, brother.
Like, comment, share, and retweet this moment.
Ted H with the 5 gifted what is you guys this is amazing.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
loving this. The gift membership trade, this train, this is phenomenal.
Got Kyle, Byron Brown, Ode Torre, Venom Mark, Zach Pearson. Rats for receiving that, and thank you so much to Ted H.
Keep those heads rolling in the chat, please. Let's see them.
Sorry, I got caught up. Gavin got me inspired. I got caught up looking at Stuart Eminem Ultimate Spider-Man pages for sale.
What are they going for?
I mean, the ones that are on Felix comic book art are only $200,
Okay.
but it doesn't look like there's anything crazy on there. At least in my brief perusal.
It's in the price range. You can do it.
Oh, I can't do it.
For all the people, by the way, who say that comic book artists make no money, Gavin Guidry, my man right here, is dropping bread on those Stuart Eminem OG pages. And not to put his business on Front Street, but my man bought a couple of Switch 2s. So Marvel and DC, he's eating pretty good off those checks. Congratulations, Gavin. Get your bread.
And I I wish I could contribute to the Gavin Guidry Switch 2 fund.
I tried, but the page I wanted was bought out.
Zach Pearson said, Hey, thanks for the gifted. I wasn't even in chat because I always watch later. So my man got gifted a channel membership, wasn't even watching us, got the alert, and jumped in to thank you. That's what's up. Lucas Hallner, channel member, Comics VI Pal for 7 months. Thank you. Says, wait for it. Then dropped the 199 and said, boom, keep these donations coming. Best channel. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Gavin, that makes sense. Says, well, I sold 10 pages myself this past weekend. There you go.
Nice.
Still in the fund.
He said, this is a legit big year for me, not going to lie. Bro,
Oh, yeah.
nothing makes me happier. I love to see the comics industry is jam-packed full of great people. I love to see the ones who we've been able to connect with and kind of like get invested in grow to that degree. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you for making us a part of your journey, dude. He also says 29% sale on my website for my birthday ends in a couple days. Well, first of all, when's your birthday? Happy birthday. And second of all, that's gavingidry.com, yeah? Let me see. gavingidry.com.
Yep, sure is.
Awesome. Yes, gavingidry.com if you want original art from Gavin. And by the way, let me tell you right now, if you like Gavin's artwork, don't wait. Because in a year, 2 years from now, Getting Gavin's artwork is going to cost 2 to 3 times as much as it does. The price for Gavin OG art has already gone up since we met him. A
I,
lot.
I went onto my browser to type in Gavin Guidry, and it already autofilled straight to the JSA page because I've been eyeing I've been eyeing that shit for a while now.
Amin Perez gifting another 5 channel memberships. Oh my God.
We got Josiah Holmes, Daniel Holzman, William Stevenson, Latino Mifune. That's funny. And Kellraiser.
Love it. Love it.
Congrats.
Love it. Thank you so much. I mean, I love this gifted membership train. We've never had this happen quite this way. So thank you so much. Shu Patel says, who knew the Ultimate Universe would be a moneymaker for not only Marvel, but also the comics pals? Love it. Thank you guys so, so, so much. And a lot of people praising Gavin right now because Gavin is great and deserves that. Chad Cowder says, did you see what the Jock cover of Joker go for on auction? That shit went for over $200,000.
What?
I believe it was nearly 300K. And the fucked up part, if I remember correctly, Jock had already sold that cover. So the original art, he sold it years ago. Now it went for about 300,000. I believe that's accurate. So
It,
bummer for Jock for not making that bag,
Yeah.
but don't sell all that original art. Keep some of that. You never know what might blow up. Mike Critique says Ultimate Comics Pals when? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. Now, we've been having a lot of fun. We're going to keep the fun rolling. We've still got a little bit more to talk about in the Ultimate space though. We're not quite done with this conversation yet. Someone brought this up earlier and I thought it was a very interesting comment. And unfortunately I don't remember who said it, so sorry. But what if the maker comes out of his cocoon, trounces his adversaries, and decides that he wants to take revenge against Mainline? And we see a Mainline versus Ultimate battle.
Cool.
can the people in the Ultimate Universe right now travel into that universe? Like, would they have to just sit back and watch that?
Well, I think the Miles book that's happening right now might give us more information about that as we roll on. But we do know that he was able to travel from Mainline to the Ultimate Universe because of that card that the maker gave him. So is that a one-way thing? I mean, well, it's definitely not one way because we know the maker can go to Mainline. We've seen him do that. So
But is it just make? Is it just the maker though?
that's that exactly. That's the question at hand. Oh my goodness.
Damn.
Entertain me, entertaining me by giving away five more channel memberships.
Gabber Nerd, Captain Underpants, Caleb Yoder, Corbin Knows Comics, Blue Spaceman.
Love it.
That's all of them.
Love it.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Oh my, you got to be kidding me. Carter Mitchell with the 5 gifted channel members. What is happening today? You guys are
James
amazing.
Abel, Andre, Ray. Oh, I'm sorry, Andre. Ray, I can't even keep up with this.
Oh my God.
So much going on.
Andre Renzi, Harry Tanner, Nerdy Geek, Arby the Loner, Andrew Carnes, Johnny, Grandpa Kirby, Shane L, Noel Martinez, Eric Rodriguez, J. Reed Art, William Perdomo, Nameless King, Lloyd Burton. Y'all got gifted.
Wow.
Thank
Wow.
you especially to Carter Mitchell, Gabber Nerd, and our famous Gavin Guidry. Wow.
Man, about to allow gift memberships again.
You guys are incredible. Seriously, thank you so much. You guys are absolutely incredible. And I agree with Amin. Keep the train going. Ultimate August is happening. Hayden, you nailed Ultimate August. It's a guarantee. If it was any doubt before, it is definitely happening. Set your watch to it. Ultimate August is coming. We are going to do it because you guys have more than earned it. More than earned it. Ultimatum deep dive. We will be talking ultimatum. That's a fact. The Comics Pals gifted membership appreciation day. Oh my god, man. Lucas Hallner, Sean about to cry. Never seen so many comics bucks not helping his stack count. Dude, you guys are incredible.
Y'all keep gifting subscriptions like that. He's gonna be able to take a lean out so he can really go all out
Dude,
on the stack.
I went all out on the stack this past week. If you heard Pals pulls, my stack was that was the second biggest stack I've had all year. That shit changed my mind about comics. Like I need to drop books. It's ridiculous.
It's been on the rise for me too. This is the most I've spent this year.
Oh, this past week?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, man. Great comics out. Great comics. So we've established that we sort of feel like if the Ultimate Universe ended now, or ends when the Maker comes out, that we at least, the three of us, would kind of feel like, from a storytelling standpoint, it wasn't a success. If the Maker comes out, is defeated, whatever, whatever, change of creative teams, do you sort of think that maybe that is what Zach Davison was referring to? Like maybe the universe isn't ending, but Peach's time in the universe with that book could be ending.
That's sounds very plausible. Um, because it just seems like that book and Peach's career has you know a sort of well career a long running career sort of she likes to do sort of single books.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see a world where that's how it plays out, where um these books end. Maybe not all of them, but the ones that it makes sense to end, and maybe they relaunch with another, like another creative team. But yeah, I think that's ultimately where this goes. Wait, more Samuel. Oh my God, dude. Samuel Summers, you are the man. Thank you so much. Another 5 gifted memberships.
We got Lunatic King, Just Big Step Bro, Cam Strickland, Coronado, and Famous Thanos.
Wow. And Kenneth Williams with the 4.99 super chat. Shout out the community for real. Glad I jumped from manga. Dude, Kenneth Williams, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us here. And hey, there's room enough for manga and comics. It's all comics. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you. My critique says if Hickman goes to take a big name to keep me, probably Donnie Cates. I could see Donnie Cates. What if that's the way it goes? Like the next chapter of the Ultimate Universe is sort of carved out by Donnie.
uh, which would probably fill out what we want Ultimate Spider-Man to be, you know.
Oh yeah, I could see a baton pass from Hickman to Donnie Cates. I could definitely see that because for those of you who are unfamiliar, he was the original, um, he was the original person supposed to do that book.
Yep.
So
I'm not interested in a Donnie Cates. I guess just at large. So you're dropping me, man. That happens. Like I'm in for the ride for Hickman at the moment. I trust him.
Shame it's not going too well.
Well,
You're not a Donny Cates fan, Marco?
Not really. There's been maybe one or two books that I've landed, but the writing hasn't it doesn't always connect. And maybe it's just finding the right book. Um, but of what I have, it's been rare. Mostly image stuff that has hit.
Chat can help, but for me, what I've enjoyed from Donny Cates is Venom, King in Black, and Vanish. I thought those three books were excellent. His Hulk I didn't like at all, actually. Um, and his Thor left something to be desired for me. Although it was solid. I believe he was on Thor, yeah. So those are the books that I would recommend from Mr. Cates.
It did crossover, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But outside of that, uh, it's been more miss than hit.
Kenneth Williams, how do you think the Ultimate Universe would be different with Donny Cates? That's a good question. And that's been rattling around in my mind a lot since he made his statements last week or whatever about feeling like mainline Spider-Man and mainline books in general kind of missing something. Um I don't I don't know how different it would really be. I think the Ultimate Universe in general, things would have gone the same. I think Ultimate Spider-Man in particular is the book where we would see the most difference because that's the book Donnie himself would have been writing.
Yeah, I think one thing that I have seen from Donnie that I do like is that he he does a really great job of making things feel threatening, like the stakes feel threatening. So I could see his maker being a real bastard,
Yeah.
but I think only he might have that specific voice that we're looking for there, uh, you know, to push that forward.
Yeah, he has that star power, he has that name value. I think that, when we talked about a jumping off point, there are a lot of people who would either jump on or stick around if they knew that Donny Cates was coming. We don't talk about him that much just because he's been absent from the game for a while due to his injury, but Donny Cates is a superstar writer. His name brings the boys to the yard, so to speak. People love Donny Cates. And if Marvel has him, they need to put him in a major position. Just a must. Um, Kyle, this might warrant more reflection. Do we want 1610 to come back, considering where we left off? 1610 is the original Ultimate Universe.
Leave it. Let it let it be the thing that it is. Keep it separate from this. I think that'll confuse, muddle things more so than they might be already. Um, and and I think that might come from a place of not having the nostalgia for it, because I didn't connect with it, or I didn't make contact with it previously. It was only after my time getting into comics, and so I'm more than happy to leave that kind of era where things are. And I feel the same way about something like New 52. Leave it.
I'm with you. And I
Yeah,
have a connection to that stuff.
that's what I was gonna say. I think people with a connection would say leave it.
It ran its course. They did what they were going to do and ran its course. And quite frankly, it was not good at the end. In reference to Ultimates, it was not good at the end. $5 from Hayden's Hideout. You guys, I can't believe you guys are still dropping comics bucks on us. Thank you so much, Hayden. I think Donnie would have been more open about their plans with the rest of the creative teams. Hickman likes to keep things close to the chest. I'm not actually so sure that that's true because with the Krakoan age, it seems to be the case that the creative teams involved all knew what Hickman's plans were from the beginning. Um, and Hickman them knowing Hickman's plans, if you guys recall, they did not want to push forward into the next sort of act of Hickman's story. And that's why he had to leave. But they all knew what the blueprint was, and they just were having too much fun doing what they were doing. Um, yeah, 1610 died because it wasn't good. Outside of Spider-Man, no point in bringing it back. That's what Mike Critique says. And I agree with that. I think if Marvel could have kept it going, they would have. Like if it was selling well, if it was creatively interesting, they would have kept it going. Ultimately, this is a universe that is about to change dramatically in 6 months.
One
Whatever
way or
they're
the
gonna
other.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever they're gonna do, things are gonna be changing and shifting dramatically. And I'm excited for that because I don't want to say that the Ultimate Universe feels stale because there are books I'm enjoying about half of it a lot. Maybe even more than that because I really like Ultimates. Ultimate Black Panther's good. I really like Ultimate Wolverine. What else? Those are the books I'm enjoying. Well, I mean, when there's only about 5 or 6 of them, that's solid, I guess.
Yeah,
Half.
the numbers are that much easier to make look good.
Yeah.
The percentages are that much easier.
Exactly. Thank you, Gavin, for acknowledging me. Um, I'm enjoying what they're doing, but in a way, I'm also kind of over it.
Yeah. Yep. Should the countdown have been shorter?
For me personally, I think the biggest problem is that I'm thinking about that too much. The
Hmm.
stories in and of themselves aren't doing enough to just keep me locked in. Like I think I should feel like I almost don't want to get there as opposed to wanting to get there. Like
That's a great point. Like we
I
should
should
be afraid for our heroes.
yeah,
Right.
and we should want to live in the moment we're living in. And I'm
Yeah.
not feeling that.
Yeah.
I, I would have said that yes, it should have been shorter because I think it would have benefited the pace of certain titles. The first one is Ultimate Spider-Man. I think we wouldn't be meandering as much. Um, but I think for the other titles, that's probably the only place. Actually, and Ultimates, like maybe some of those titles where or those issues where the Guardians just show up for the sake of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we avoid some of that. So potentially,
Yeah. I that issues like that stick out to me as feeling like if there were a shorter road to the maker, we wouldn't get them. And Ultimates would feel tighter. There are about 3 or 4 issues of Ultimates in my mind that you could erase. And that feels like a tighter, more succinct series.
Yeah.
yeah,
And when you've only had, 12 issues or we're at whatever we're at, you shouldn't be able to just strike 3 or 4 out of it. That's like that shouldn't be the case. Amin says, I'm like Sean. I like to edge in a comic book sense. The threat of the maker will probably be more interesting than the actual event. Hopefully it won't.
I think that's going to be true even if it is uh even if the actual event is really good.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Close the poll. Has the Ultimate Universe been a success? 78% of you say yes.
uh,
21% of you say no.
yeah, we are a Marvel podcast. Makes sense. Out here glazing.
Ultimately, from a financial standpoint, the Ultimate Universe is an abject success. There is no doubt about it. Ultimate Spider-Man is the best-selling comic book generally. month over month, and all the other books outsell their mainline counterparts. Ultimate Wolverine outsells Wolverine. Ultimate X-Men outsells X-Men. I'm pretty confident in saying that. There is no Black Panther, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, from a storytelling standpoint, your mileage may vary.
Yeah, things may feel different.
Although, I'll say this from a storytelling standpoint, I also think most people would say all the Ultimate books are better. I don't say that about Spider-Man, but most people, it seems like a lot of people probably would. So,
Yeah, like I thinking about like the audience and like the audience perspective, that's not a stretch to think.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So you can't argue with that. Lucas, we are definitely going to get into that. We're going to talk Transformers. Absolutely.
hell yeah,
Uh,
Ultimately, did I do that
yeah.
right?
absolutely.
Kyle, considering the money that was just dropped today, I feel like we aren't beating the Marvel podcast allegations. Listen, nothing makes me happy. We could be whatever kind of podcast you want us to be. Realistically, this is a you guys podcast. This is a podcast based on y'all. So whatever you want us to be is what we are. I think a lot of non-critics must really like this line. The numbers clearly point in that direction. Yep.
That's interesting. Do a lot of critics have similar issues to us with the Ultimate Universe?
In my experience from like other podcasts and reviewers, the Ultimate Universe is a success.
Hmm.
The criticism of the monthly storytelling is everywhere, and I think that's why Jonathan Hickman addressed it the way that he did. But all these books are beloved.
Yeah.
Well, beloved is a strong word to use for like Ultimate Black Panther. I think people are like all right on that book,
Hmm.
but all the other ones people are like loving.
You're the black sheep here.
I don't think we are because I love Ultimate Wolverine. Ultimate Spider-Man is the one that we don't love that most other people do.
Sure.
Because like you really enjoy Ultimate X-Men, Tyler does too. So, you know, can y'all be a Black Cloak
I just saw
podcast?
that.
That's
Oh,
funny, Shun.
Good, good book.
we are the Kelly Thompson Power Hour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's us. That's trademarked. So
Last Young Renegade. A couple more questions and then we'll move on. We've got a lot more show to do here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Last Young Renegade, would Ultimate be perceived as a success with the books that launched if Absolute would have been the first to come out? Yes. Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah. I don't think it has anything to do. I don't think the perception of Ultimate Universe has anything to do with the fact that it came first,
mm,
because by and large, I think the Absolute Universe is more preferred. Um,
mm.
but I think for the people who, like the Ultimate line, they like it independent of Absolute.
And I think the way Absolute was cooking, I think it was uh in the works. I mean, to be honest, probably a lot earlier than the Ultimate Universe. Maybe maybe it's fair to say that like Marvel got there first because of that maybe they got wind of it or something. But I think the reason the Absolute Universe is working so well is because it's so thought out. Snyder and Williamson are, from like the early days of like just brief conversations, right? They were really working on figuring out how to make the two lines work together. And I don't see that with the Ultimate Universe.
My understanding is that the the Ultimate Universe plans started in 2019. I believe. And we were supposed to see the launch of the line about a year earlier or so than we did, but Donnie
Mm,
Cates' injury changed things. And the absolute line, from what I can recall, Scott Snyder was sort of on his way out the door from DC around that same time. He stuck around partially. Well, he did leave. He did make his absence and
yeah.
go do Scott Tober and everything else, and came back to do this because it was such a big concept. And so work probably started earlier on Ultimates. I think the talks probably started around the same time for both. Um, but there's no doubt that the absolute all in idea of it is more comprehensive. There's no doubt about that.
Mm,
There's more thought put into the
yeah.
yeah, there's no doubt. Samuel Summers with the $2. How about becoming a Radiant Black podcast? Listen, bro.
Well,
$2, you got
Comics,
it.
yeah, comics bucks talk. They do.
finish that first compendium on the next trades.
MPL Murphy with a 4.99 with McNiven to DC. What Marvel bullpen artist would be a draw for an Ultimate line?
Oof.
Right
I think
now.
the ones they've got.
Yeah.
Chichetto, when he can be bothered to show up.
Laraz?
Laraz and Capullo.
Capullo, sure.
Yeah. To me, those are the only those two, Alex Ross and Peach Momoko, are the only draws that Marvel has from an artist standpoint, and Alex Ross ain't in that bullpen.
Kez.
Yeah, Marquez, yeah, sure.
ARJR.
Yeah, but yeah, yes, yes,
Get him
yes.
on. Get him on Ultimate Spider-Man. Fuck it.
Oh my God, dude.
Wild.
Hayden's Hideout with the $5. Don't listen to Samuel. We're a News from the Fallout podcast. We need to talk about the ARG stuff they're doing on their website. Dude, first of all, that book was amazing. And second of all, when I saw, I think it was you talking about the ARG stuff on our Discord, I was losing it. That is so exciting. I love an ARG. Alternate reality game, by the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar. That's where it's a great example. The best example I can think of an ARG was done for The Dark Knight. Um, when that movie was coming out, there was a promotion that they were doing where like you would go on websites and follow clues, call numbers, and different things like that, and receive a lot more information about the world of The Dark Knight. And it all culminated. Um, you had to go get these cakes, literally go to a bakery, ask for a cake. It all culminated in an exclusive pre-screening of the first scene of the movie in IMAX for people who
But
followed the ARG all the way through. That was what you got. It was incredible.
shit.
Huh.
Yeah.
I just went on the site and they got directory, they got launch dates, personnel, like declassified statements, reports. Cool. There's a helpline.
Is that for Batman or is that for the news from the Fallout?
News from the Fallout. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, no joke. Is there any chance for a manga book club? Says Amin
Let's
Perez.
go.
We did do one. We did the
done
one.
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 Yeah.
The one.
The one, yeah, the one that we've done so far. Could it happen again? Stay tuned.
Oh
Comics
shit.
Bucks do talk.
$50.
Comics books. That'll get Sean to go into a manga shop. Uh,
Hell no, it won't. I'll go to Midtown Comics. They sell manga.
no, chill. We gotta get you to go like one of the shops. I just went to one yesterday in Flushing. Got it like all on the walls. You gotta go pick through everything, look through all the weeboo shit.
Hey, that could be a pretty funny video. That could be a good video.
I wonder how you would like function in like
That
what.
could be that could be the first Sean tries.
Yeah,
Cause I've never been in a manga shop. I have no idea what
really.
they sell other than manga or what it looks like or anything. I have no idea.
Get him in. What is it? Koto Kabuya?
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Promise Neverland.
What's that?
Oh, bro. Oh my god, there's so much good shit you have no idea about.
Listen,
Comics are dope. Oh, go ahead.
I'm in $50. That's all it takes. I
Yeah,
guess that's a new tier.
I'm in.
sure.
You said what? What's that book you said I'm in?
Berserk for the audio
Fat
listeners.
Boys is Kentaro Miura Sensei. Volume 1, dude.
Marco's holding a Berserk tome in his hands.
Literally tome.
Fucking comics are dope, said Sean playing Diddy games for a Batman screening. What the fuck? What do you mean Diddy games? I wasn't playing no damn Diddy. There was no baby oil involved in the ARG. There was no baby oil, just cake. Just cake. Oh man, you guys want a fucking manga book club.
Didn't we do a Junji Ito?
Yeah.
We
Uzumaki.
did.
That was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've done that one.
Then
Mhm.
we did Goodbye Airy, like a one off for
Yeah,
Pals
that's
Pulls.
right.
On pile, yep.
I just
Mhm.
bought that in physical.
Great book.
Oh, so good. I gave it to Jade. She's like, oh, you bought something. I'm like, no, this is for you.
Hayden's Hideout dropped a 20 spot on us.
Oh my
Love
God.
this. Cord the Manga Book Club. Put Sean on Dick Fight Island and World's End Harem.
Oh,
Whoa!
Dick Fight Island. Dick Fight Island.
I can't think of a place I want to be less than a place called Dick Fight Island.
I heard it was
Dick
good.
Fight. You heard it was good. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You want to talk about Diddy games? Comics are dope. You need to get my man right here.
Listen, hey, it's still June.
That's true, but that'll make it not a Diddy game.
Maybe I'm not clear on what a Diddy game is, I think, but my understanding of that whole situation is it was very criminal. Dick fighting is completely, well,
It could be.
mostly completely consensual.
Listen, the Diddy game I'm talking about could have been legal if they weren't trafficking uh individuals of all gender to whatever island Diddy was on with the baby oil and the Vaseline and the IVs. So
You've already said more than I know about. So.
I know a lot about this subject, believe me. Kyle, I just want to see Sean walk through the SkyTube aisles in a shop. What's that?
The hell does that mean?
You guys are saying some shit now.
Oh,
Lucas Alder said, "Can we please stop saying Diddy games?" Blame comics are dope. BJ pulled that shit out. I'm just marching to the beat of his drum.
John, let me send you. Let me send you what this SkyTube shit is real quick. Let me.
Oh no!
Just get
Oh
just
no!
just get a glimpse. Just get a glimpse. Wow.
Oh
Jamie Marrero said, Diddy games, I'm gonna need some more polybags. What is this?
Wait, what am I clicking on?
It's fine.
Oh
It's fine.
shit! Oh, woo! Where's the what? Whoa!
Aisles.
Ay caramba.
Hold on. Where we got this? Where is this? Where do they have these at?
I'm gonna have to figure out where the nearest store is. I'll let you know.
Oh man, we about to drop some comic books on some of these.
All of a sudden, you see the figures in the background. They're just
He
all
said,
perpetually blurred.
I love manga.
Yeah. Manga's great, guys. Holy shit. All right, I gotta get off that website.
Super shop. How about betrayed by the hero? I formed a MILF party with his mom. All right.
Wait, is that real?
Probably.
Comics are dope said I didn't pull anything out. Pause. No, you did. You did. You whipped out that Diddy game line.
Oh.
So you better own that right now. I'm not taking the heat from the chat for that. That was BJ. BJ said that.
Saga, King Taichi, calling my shout out, dude. Harris with the Gundam, Metamorphosis. God, there's so much good shit.
Gundam. I'll fuck with some Gundam. That I
What?
like. What? What do you mean? What? Gundam's cool. No?
Gundam's cool, but I don't know if there's like good Gundam books.
I think
Oh.
Gundam is hard to read.
Yeah,
It's hard to read.
Oh, okay.
I
I
think it's
see.
I think it's kind of boring.
and like
Okay.
it's older too. I guess it depends which one. Like, yeah, there's Manga Gundam animes
I
though.
always thought the series were cool. The
Yeah.
animated
I went back to watch Gundam Wing. Woof.
bad, rough.
Bad, dude. Just like
Oh.
objectively bad. I
No,
thought.
come on.
I thought so. I couldn't swallow that shit.
Marco said, in my opinion, it's objectively bad. Oh my God. Hayden's Hideout with a 10 spot. Thank you, dude. You were killing it today. Actual manga recommendations. Vinland Saga, One Punch Man, Hell's Paradise.
Yeah,
Vinland Saga, I think you'd have fun with.
yeah. I One Punch Man. I think you'd have fun with.
It might be like too goofy though.
Yeah, that's the problem. I know a little bit about One Punch Man, and it just seems too goofy. I can't take that.
Yeah, I think you need something that it carries itself more
Can
seriously.
you can you take it for comics bucks?
there
Yes. Yes, I
Well,
can.
you
Yes, I
go.
can. I can take a lot for comics bucks. Okay, that one I could admit that shouldn't have been said. I regret saying that one. I'll retract it. That one I shouldn't have said.
I mean Murphy says couldn't swallow. Okay, pause.
What is happening today? I came here to talk about the ultimate fucking universe, guys. I didn't come here to talk about fucking Diddy games and manga.
Oh, Pluto.
Pluto. Gavin, yeah, Gavin brings up Pluto, and I've heard that Pluto is the Watchman of manga. It like
What?
it like Watchmanizes Astro Boy.
Wow. That actually sounds really cool.
It like I'm awful at watching TV, but I think I'm about halfway through the anime that came out, was that last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
And it's phenomenal.
I have to watch that one.
No, the fuck not, Lucas. No, I would not. Lucas, Lucas, you better stop it. Lucas said Sean would take Diddy for comics books at this point. That is a fucking
Whoa.
wild thing to say, my friend. That's wild. How dare you?
Yo, um, MPL Murphy. Tyler's in Mexico, but the pals are in the gutters, covered in cash and baby oil.
Carter with the $5. Made in Abyss manga book club when? What is that?
Oh, Made in Abyss is a manga.
Yeah, but like, is it good? Is
I
it,
haven't I
what
haven't
is
read
it?
that one.
Oh, you guys are throwing out some recs.
When we find out if it's good or not.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness.
you're drawing Vagabond. Hell yeah. My brother's in the middle of reading that right now. He's been raving about it. My brother has better opinions about manga than he does comics, and now is fully turning more into manga. I'm trying to be like, yo, wait, here, read the Absolute Batman stuff. It's like, nah, Berserk's cool.
The problem, and I've said this, the problem with Absolute Batman is it's still Batman. Berserk ain't Batman.
Not.
Uh I mean, how is the heat there? I'm getting cooked, dude. It is not actually too hot here at all right now.
It's hot in Spain.
Mm, mm. Mikey J coming from the future to tell you whoever hit y'all with the 1999 expected a Prince cover. Well, look, we're not gonna be covering Prince. But today we are partying like it's 1999. And the reason why is because you guys have been so incredibly generous all day. Really appreciate it. Um, will we get back on track? Lucas says, yes, we will right now, Lucas. Thank you for saying that. I will take the reins again and get us back on track because we no longer will be talking about Diddy or any of that other stuff we were discussing. We have serious business to get into for the rest of this podcast. Thank you very much.
Right. All you weebs, go back to reading your animes and watching your manga.
Yes, exactly.
I'm gonna mute you guys. I'm gonna go find my raspberry beret.
I wouldn't be totally surprised if you pulled one out. Like that would make sense. Um, okay, so patreon.com/ the comics pals is the best way to support your boys. You guys have been incredible with the super chats today, and we love that. But the Patreon, we keep more of those comics bucks. And also, you get so much bang for your buck, and we love being able to show you love for the love that you show us. And one of the things that you guys get to do is you guys get to help us determine the book club for the month. And as we told you, August or July is going to be Superman month. We're doing Superman for July, given that the movie is coming out, it's impending. And for free right now, no patronage is needed to nominate a book for Superman month. You can nominate books on our Patreon page for absolutely free. You don't have to be a paid member. Free members can nominate. Our Discord channel under the book club thread, you can nominate. And then also there's a thread on our YouTube channel. So any of those places, just let us know your favorite Superman book, the book you want us to read. Nominate one book, please, for the love of God. I love you guys. You are phenomenal. You're the best audience in the world. But some of you got to get it together. One book, please. One nomination. And matter of fact, when you nominate multiple books, I only take the first one. I don't even acknowledge the rest. So it's only the one that we're going to take. Um, so make sure you guys do that. You've got a few more days to do it. I will stop taking nominations on Tuesday, so please get those in as soon as you can. Now, to finish off the month that we are in, we've got to get you guys our favorite Fantastic Four character, the final one, our number one with a bullet, most favorite Fantastic Four character. Cale, why don't you kick us off with your favorite Fantastic Four member or character,
You
excuse me.
got it. So my favorite ones are the originals, the ones that uh brought the Fantastic Four together, gave them their very first mission. You know, the cry out into the world. Um, my favorite are the Moloids, and very specifically, the three Moloids that are in the Future Foundation.
Oh yeah.
Uh, these three captured my heart for the first time in 2012 in Hickman's run. When they join and they start to see Ben as like a hero and a god, and they call him the Ben and the Johnny, and I love that so much. But then in Matt Fraction and Mike Allred's FF, they take on just this whole new life. Where the series becomes more about the kids and all the shenanigans that they get into. These Moloids have like super intelligence because they've been evolved by like the high evolutionary or whatever got cooked up by Hickman, and they start to transcend what a Moloid is, and one of them is a head in a jar, and that is my favorite concept on the planet. I love a head in a jar. but crucially, a moment that I find truly beautiful, and just so landmark for what these characters are. One of them realizes that they are transgender. Um, they I'm looking at the page now, and they say um I have a girl inside of me. I tried to be a boy like you, but there is no boy here, and I do not wish to be what I am any longer. And he goes on. She goes on to say, "Are you still my brothers? Are you still my family?" And the beautiful part of that is the Moloids together. They realize that they are a family and they are together. And I just I love that the Fantastic Four brought the Moloids to the world and then like caused this beautiful moment, with these weird little creatures who get this moment to exist outside of themselves and evolve past who they are. Um, I think the Moloids rule, and they don't get enough credit. That's why they're my number one.
It's a very inspired choice. I like that. How about you, Marco?
Similar, similarly inspired. My number one is the Thing.
Yeah, here we go.
He is actually the only Fantastic Four member that I've read a solo series for. The one by Mosley a few years back was really, really good. There's a new one that's out. Issue 2 dropped just last week that I'm locked in for. I like the concept and the tragedy involved. Very similar to Swamp Thing, the man inside the monster body. I feel like it's a very classic trope, and having to learn how to live with that, having to learn how to create a life beyond what the physical appearance is, and really try to have your heart on your sleeve. And I think also the function that he serves in the family is one that is full of some tension, because there is a guilt associated with with the Thing, and Ben in particular, or sorry, Reed in particular, feels the weight of that, and there's almost like a responsibility there. But the way that they're able to move past that, the way that they're able to feel like no hard feelings, it is what it is. Like there's an acceptance to it that I really find um powerful and engaging. So yeah, I'm very much a fan of that character, and anytime that a new series comes out, I've been trying to pick it up. So yeah, this reread of Fantastic Four, and now I've been continuing through to FF and beyond that. It's been fun. It's just getting to further familiarize myself with this family and these characters. And yeah, number one was the Thing before even reading this stuff, and it has continued the Ben.
Marco, you're not alone because the Thing for a long time was the most popular member, maybe still is, of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
The only one that could carry a solo series for pretty much their entire lifespan. I can't think of it probably exists, but I can't think of a solo series for any of the other ones except I know Invisible Woman had one a few years ago.
the Human Torch one had one for a while.
Hmm.
Scotty Young, actually.
Oh wow. Okay. Um, Mine is Reed Richards. The older I get, the more I love Reed Richards as a character. And I'm not sure if that is because I'm starting to resemble him more with my fucking temples being gray, or what. But um, I really, really, really deeply love this character. Reed is complicated, and I find that oftentimes superheroes are not. A lot of times they're very straightforward. They just do the heroic thing, the right thing, whatever, and that's that. And Reed's failings and his complexity comes from the fact that in a lot of ways he is actually the smartest person in the room all the time. And that comes with a burden. How do you treat people when you actually do know better than them? How do you speak to people when you really are smarter than them? How do you solve the problems of the world and not turn into an arrogant maniac when you're actually the one capable of solving the problems of the world uniquely? I think those are very interesting questions. Examined brilliantly always by Jonathan Hickman across Fantastic Four, New Avengers, and then Secret Wars. I think Reed Richards as a character has grown and developed into somebody really fascinating. He's compassionate, heartfelt, lovable, wicked smart, genius, the guy you want with you in the trenches because he's the one who can make a machine out of nothing that's going to pull you out and save your life. Um, Invisible Woman would have been my number one a few years ago, but man, if I don't love me some Reed Richards, he's the best and quickly becoming one of my favorite characters in all of Marvel. So that's
Underrated.
it. I agree. I completely agree. That is our top five Fantastic Four characters. Thank you for listening to us for the last few weeks tell you about them. And of course, next month, again, Superman month. So we'll be bringing you a top five for Superman. And we'll get into that when the time is right. We've got some news to get into here. Big news. We all know that Daniel Warren Johnson and George Corona's time on Transformers is coming to an end with issue number 25.
Or hey,
Um,
Corona.
they are done. 24 will mark the end of their story officially. Um, uh, but Robert Kirkman and Dan Mora are the creative team that is going to follow. If you can believe that, that is probably the biggest creative team that they could have snatched up for Transformers, and they did it. Dan Mora?
Yeah. The only way they could have gone bigger is like Mark Wade.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Huge. I saw this in the chat, Discord rather. Holy shit. This is hopping on after an issue 24. Coming back to see what have I missed? Kirkman, who I trust as a creative to be able to deliver heartfelt stories, action, and Mora, who Mike Spicer on colors, so that's a pairing that I might enjoy a little bit more than Tamara Bonbion. No shade to her, but I think that pairing for me is much more my style. Huge. Immediately hopping on.
Yeah, this does actually make me look forward to what could happen. Like I was pretty ready to just write it off, but yeah, Kirkman and to be honest, I'm less excited about Mora. I sort of think I just don't know how much I want to see. I feel like his stuff is too clean versus what we've gotten.
Have you seen the preview pages at all?
I've only seen the cover. Uh let me pull up this page.
This is
See this
exactly what I wanted.
this just looks like Superman to me right now.
The scale of the Autobots in these preview pages is what I was missing from a lot of the art that we've gotten. I always felt like the pages were too cramped and didn't allow the scale of the Autobots and Decepticons to really come through. Whereas at least in these preview pages, I can really see it. I just like Dan Mora's style a lot, and I think he is. It's not something that I would have ever said. I would have never said like, yeah, Dan Mora is the perfect fit for Transformers. But looking at it, this is exactly what I want.
Oh, there's more. Thank God. I was sitting here looking at it going, there's only one page. What are you talking about?
Scroll through.
Dummy.
Yeah. I definitely agree. The art was very for a Corona and for Danny Warren Johnson. Danny Warren Johnson in particular, I think, very flexible, super dynamic, super just like uh almost bendy. Corona, I think, a little bit less so, but cleaner lines. They're definitely moving away from that stylization and
Hmm.
to a Dan Moore, where I think the figures for the people, um, for the humans in particular, I think are a little more normalized, and then in contrast to the Autobots here, um, I'm I think they look clean. They look more like if you guys remember like Bionicles, they look a little more figures and that are like put together, where there was almost like an organic feel that I think Corona and DWJ were able to come like to get across.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I think that this is like my biggest concern with Transformers was that the next creative team would be a step down. And that it would feel like, all right, yeah, we did the big Transformers launch. Now let's get into, just the run of the mill, whatever. And this isn't that. Robert Kirkman is, I mean, listen, arguably the biggest writer in comics. I say the most important indie writer, the most important writer in comics of the last 20 years. And so to get him on Transformers alongside DC's biggest artist, this is other than Jim Lee, this is insanity. It makes me question what Dan Mora's thinking about, though, as far as like his career trajectory, because there's no way he can keep up the pace he's on. And I recently read him talking about how he was going to slow down with the amount of books he's on, but they just announced a new book. So what is he dropping?
I think Amin said it earlier in the chat. He's gonna be dropping DC. Like, and it's interesting that we're in this point because maybe he doesn't do all the titles, right? Maybe he doesn't drop, Justice League. But if that's the only thing that he's going to be doing moving forward, and this is going to be the bigger book in his eyes, it's an interesting mindset shift that he's betting on Skybound and Image here as the more successful property to launch him than or to continue his career than DC.
I don't know about that. I think he probably just wanted to drop Transformers, draw some Transformers. He's been doing DC work for a long time. And now he's getting into that oh no, he's only doing the covers for
Yeah, the
Batman
Batman.
Common Rider book,
Yeah.
Yep.
whatever that is. Um, but even still, like even if he just does covers for DC, like he's still gonna, still gonna he's made his mark.
Yeah, like I'm wondering, like, is this Dan spreading his wings because I mean, he's kind of done it all at DC at this point. Think about in the last year, he's done Superman, Justice League, and an event, the Absolute Power event. That's nuts. And so, and look, money talks. I'm sure DC pays him a big bag for all the books he does, but I am also sure that to come and do Transformers, he's getting those Hasbro bucks. That might be a different kind of bag altogether.
100%. 100%. Imagine like because I've also heard some rumblings about like an animated show coming out. You know, what
Yeah.
do royalties start to look like? For me, this makes math sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
I saw a rumor that there was going to be show coming out that was a G.I. Joe Transformers show.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that a rumor? I thought that was confirmed.
I thought it
Oh,
was a rumor.
if it's confirmed, I don't know. So, but that's if that's where this is going,
Oh,
then what's that, Cale? It is
it's
rumor.
just gossip. Yeah.
Okay. If that happens, Dan Mora, you got to figure is gonna be receiving a big bag for his contributions here. But then you also have to think about my God, who's the series artist behind G.I. Joe right now? Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh, I'll pull it up.
Williamson and oh my God, I love his work too. He's so talented. I'm just blanking. Chat, help me out. Atomic
Wheeler.
Hound. Who?
Riley.
Tom
Oh, I was
Riley.
close.
There you go. Yes, Tom Riley. Atomic Hound dropping by with the 1999. I'm way behind on the stream right now, but loving all the channel, but loving all the loving. Oh, sorry, loving all the love on the channel today through memberships and super chats. The pals are a comics treasure. You, my friend, are a comics treasure, and I thank you so much for your contribution to all the love today. Thank you very much, brother. Transformers now feels like a must-read book. If you weren't reading it before, I think you've got to be now. If you don't care about Transformers, that's fine. Robert Kirkman and Dan Mora. I didn't care about Transformers before, but it was Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a cool, like, Daniel Warren Johnson was a cool enough reason to check it out in the first place. But I think Kirkman alone is enough to be like, okay, I'll keep going with this. But now Mora's on top of that as well. He's going to be pretty hot.
I mean, listen, raise your hand if you were about to cancel Transformers after DWJ was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I was off. I
Yeah.
was off.
Same. Yeah. No disrespect to Corona. I was in it for DWJ.
Yeah, and Kale's right. You say Robert Kirkman is on the book? Oh, okay. I got to think about cancellation now. I got to think about whether I'm,
Mm.
I'm probably going to be on this. But then you say Dan Mora, and I say this is one of the 5 books that you must read because now the person writing Void Rivals is the same person writing Transformers, and you
Yeah.
have to imagine that there's going to be crossover.
Yep.
This feels like chickens coming home to roost.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
I think Kale, you had said something and that made me feel like Robert Kirkman feels like stability as well. Because DWJ coming off, then the art change. There's been a little bit of fluctuation here and there, but
Mm.
now this feels like okay, we're locking in for maybe a longer term. Because I also don't see this being Robert Kirkman's here to write 6 issues. Robert Kirkman's here for a nice stint, maybe a year, 2 years.
Well, and he's already, he's doing Void Rivals, like we said. So he's already in the universe. I really feel like we have to keep moving now. Whatever broad plot the Energon universe has, we've got to push forward.
Yes. Now, yes, absolutely. Now is the time. Now is the time to push the storyline forward. And in terms of interconnectivity, Transformers as a book has told its story, and it's been good. Um, and it doesn't feel rushed or too slow. It feels like it's moving at a nice pace. But now we need to get to where the Transformers book, the Void Rivals book, and the G.I. Joe book are spreading their wings, doing more connective tissue stuff, and maybe it might even be time for an event. Maybe not right now, but within the next year, I think there needs to be an event.
Well, and that's what we thought GI Joe was going to be.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hayden's Hideout. I'm not reading Transformers. Might jump on because of Mora and Kirkman. I think you should, dude. Now is a perfect time because if you're reading Transformers, I think it's safe to say that the way this story is going to end will be a clean-ish slate. Not fully clean, but clean-ish. To where a Kirkman can come in and do something that won't require you to totally know what happened before, but will allow you a way in that you won't feel like you missed a beat.
Like Megatron's back now. The pieces are back on the board.
Yeah.
Right.
Spoilers, I guess.
Oh no.
Superjob says, for me, Mora's a step down from Daniel Warren Johnson, but DWJ hasn't been drawing the book for 20 issues.
Again, it's that initial draw. That's what he was. That's I think the role that he fit. But now we're thinking about, okay, let's stick it out long term.
Let me ask you guys this. Because Daniel Warren Johnson has a very unique style that we love. Do you think that commercially, Daniel Warren Johnson is a bigger draw for this series than Dan Mora?
No, no. I think the thing that Dan Mora does best is classic iconography.
Yeah.
And I think that's why his stuff works so well. Um, so I think commercially, no, there's no question Mora's the better fit there.
Yeah,
I think the reason DWJ works so well is because it was a different look.
Yeah.
I agree with that. 100%.
Yeah. I think Dan Mora might it's him and Pepe Larraz for me that are my favorite artists right now in comics, I think.
But to that point of the iconography, right? Like building a form and pulling on things that feel like it's not standardized, but like I've seen that, and now it's in this very clean vision. But Danny Warren Johnson very much is stylistic, and so
Mhm.
it's a flavor that is really cool and rad and nice to be able to experience. But now they have the visibility. Maybe now it's a game of like more mass appeal, and I think Dan Mora can probably achieve that a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Um, this will be dropping October 8th, issue 25.
Uh, all
Um,
that.
yeah, so we have a little bit of a wait. October is going to be a huge month, man. September and October are loaded.
Just in time for New York Comic Con. They're
Yeah.
they're gonna be pushing this, man. I can already imagine the panels that are gonna be happening.
Yeah. I could see an event being announced at New York Comic Con.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yo,
think we're there.
Skybound takes over Artist Alley again. See it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Reach out if you want a Comics Pals collab there.
Oh, dude, we have people. We have
I've
connections.
already reached out.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, if we oh my God, man. We need that Kirkman interview,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I was trying to. Oh, I guess the book's out now, but we were trying to set something up for Battle Beast, but
Yeah.
schedules are real tough. So I've reached back out just in general for like Kirkman.
They need to make us a priority, dude. I don't want to suck us off, but when we do an interview with these people, you guys show up. And it's really about you. It's really about you guys because when we do these interviews, you show up. Our Mark Wade interview did for our purposes and for the purposes of what an interview in the comic space does, that interview did really well.
Yeah.
Our Jeff Johns interviews did really well. Nobody had more views on their Jeff Johns interviews than we did during that frame of time where he was all over the map. So I feel like these creators and these publishers need to send more people our way because we do right by these people. We do right by them.
We'll try, folks. We'll try.
Super job. Me and Sean just have really divergent tastes. I think Mora and LaRaz are fine, but my faves are Daniel Warren Johnson, Peach, and Danny. That's because you prefer more stylistic artists, and I prefer a more iconographical. Whoa, I prefer more iconography in my art. Like my favorite artists are, Alex Ross, Jim Lee, uh Dan Mora, people who do like really like standard, you could put this on a poster type of art. That's what I like more.
Your George Perez, like the standard, like you could build a
Yes.
standard off that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am a basic bitch in that regard.
Yo, shout outs to Danny though. Super job. That's good shit. I can iconographical.
Iconographical,
S.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Cale?
I think classic would probably work just as well.
Oh my God. Shoot Patel, I would love for a third Kelly Thompson interview, especially with this year with Abs Wonder Woman. Oh yeah. My feeling was just like let's give, because when did we interview Kelly last? Was it this year?
Yeah,
Oh,
last
so
year.
we're due. We're
Yeah, we're
due.
due.
Okay.
Amin said he first came into contact with us just typing in Jeff Johns interview.
Rami says the same. Yeah. That was definitely a point at which we started to blow up a little bit. Yeah. Mhm.
Hey, inside out from the Palsverse typing Two Face #1 review.
That's hilarious because I did not like that book.
Yeah.
Did you
I
finish
don't
it?
think, hell no.
Dropped it?
Oh yeah,
He's still buying it.
no, 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 not this one. I was too sad because I fucking love Two-Face to death, and hating that book hurt me, so I had to drop it. All right, let's keep things rocking with this is just, I mean, you want to talk about embarrassing, dude. Diamond is going out sad. Diamond is going out so sad. Um, so we're not going to belabor it too much, but you guys already know that Diamond has been purchased, and there's been a lot of drama behind the scenes with what's going on with them. Right now, Diamond is quote unquote holding hostage and intends to liquidate, i.e., sell at a very low price, all of their consigned comic book stock. Fantagraphics, in a scathing report, said that Diamond refused to return stock that they have from publishers, and they want to sell them directly to stores without paying for them. What do I mean? Here's exactly what I mean. This is how it works. Publishers ship the order of books to Diamond, right? Stores order whatever they're going to order. Diamond receives shipments from publishers and then ships them to stores. Then stores, they sell whatever they sold. The money goes back up the chain, blah, blah, blah. Publishers get paid, right? Diamond is saying, wait, we're going to take all the books that you have already sent to us, all the stock we have from you. We're going to liquidate it. We're going to sell it to stores at whatever price we can get for them. And we are going to keep that money and not pay publishers for it. That's robbery.
So so they're not even gonna pay their debts for it.
No,
Wow.
that's theft, as far as
Wow.
I can tell. How can you legally do that? Well, here's the quote from the Bleeding Cool article written by Rich Johnson. In new filed paperwork with bankruptcy courts as part of its ongoing Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings, Diamond Comic Distributors The debtor entity in this bankruptcy is outlining procedures for the sale of consigned inventory, quote, free and clear of all liens, claims, interest, and encumbrances, which they say is, quote, aiming to maximize value. Now, given that many of those people owed money or the publishers whose product would be liquidated by this action, there would seem to be some question to whether it will maximize value to those whom the debtor owes money. The matter will certainly be taken up in court.
They're just scrambling for whatever cash they can find. They don't care whose toes they step on. It's fucked up.
That's
Uh,
disgusting.
there was a separate article that goes a little bit more into the Fantagraphics piece. There's a term called NCR, or no cost returns, because these consignments are technically were initially agreed upon to be held by Diamond Comics distributors for free until they got sold. So just like a place to house everything. That's the reason that they're like, okay, well now we can just bring it back, right? And they're just to the article, right, holding it hostage. Actually, we're not gonna. No, sorry, ours now. Fucked
Yeah,
up.
that's insane. Now, there are some shops that have come out and said that they will refuse to purchase any comics from Diamond that are involved in this liquidation
Oh wow.
because the publishers are not being paid. And they feel like that would be a slap in the face to the publishers. And I agree with that. This is a very unprecedented and bizarre situation. The comics industry is sort of a triangle. That's the way it operates. It's publisher, distributor, retailer. And all three have to work together in order for the industry to function. One of those entities is saying fuck you. And that's the distributor, who, because they are essentially on the verge of not being a distributor anymore and owes millions of dollars, is saying, hey, publishers, screw you. And if retailers agree with that and purchase liquidated product, how will that impact relations between publishers and retailers?
Just depends on whose books they get.
Yeah.
Because look, a store not getting Titan books just means they're not going to get the 50th copy of Doctor Who Volume 12, number 6, right?
Right.
And all 50 variant covers. But if this is Marvel and DC stock we're talking about, that's different. Like it or not, they're the ones keeping comic book shops alive.
And also keep in mind that, on the other hand, Marvel and DC could afford, theoretically, for this to happen to them. Fantagraphics, Titan, and others cannot. They can't afford to just lose all this stock and not make any money off these books that they presumably printed and paid for.
Yep.
They did. The they're there. They're physically there.
Right.
Wild.
I have defended Diamond multiple times within the last year about certain things. And I have said that I felt that people were being too harsh on Diamond. This isn't that. This is Diamond trying to rob people. Straight up.
Yep. Yep.
And I don't know who's to blame. I don't know if this is Steve Geppe's decision. I don't know who's making decisions at Diamond anymore. But this is the kind of thing that can burn bridges and really, really do damage. And I don't think anybody can afford that.
It, to who it is, like the new owners presumably haven't kicked in. Like those contracts are signed insofar as they know what direction things are going, but the people who are still there are still there. I can only imagine also that this is coming from a place of, hey, the lawyers are saying this has to happen, right? And we're being beholden to that because they're on a timeline. So it's shitty because I also imagine, to your point on relationships being burned, like it's either I do this, not to justify it, It's either I do this, or maybe in the process, I get fired on something, or ultimately the lawyers hash it out, to which maybe something worse happens.
This is very, very just vile. I really don't have any other words for it. It's vile. You can't fuck with publishers like that. That's wrong. That's wrong. And uh, relationships in comics matter more than almost any other industry because of how small it is. And things like this have reverberations that last decades. There are still retailers angry about 30 years ago and what happened to the comics industry then. They don't forget. You cannot do things like this. Wow.
Wild.
Yeah. We've got one more thing to discuss. And I think I might have accidentally left it off the docket, so that's my fault. But we do need to talk about it. Allegedly, Tom King, well, this part is a fact. This first part is a fact. Tom King is going to write Batman again. Not like the core series, but he is going to be writing a 40-page one-shot, Batman one-shot in 2026. He talked about this on the Batman Book Club podcast, and he told a story about how he was approached while he was at the DC offices by the Batman group editor to basically, the group editor said, "Hey, I've got 40 pages to fill. Do you want them?" And Tom King said, "Yeah. Can we do it with this artist?" Who Tom says is one of the biggest artists in comics. He says this is the best artist in comics. And that caused a lot of speculation about who that could possibly be. Tom King said, quote, "I'm really proud of how it turned out, and like I said, it will have the best art in comics." So who does that reference? Who's the best artist in comics? Who has Tom King never worked with? Well, if you said Steve McNiven, you would be right, according to Bleeding Cool.
Huh.
Steve McNiven has been exclusive to Marvel for 20 years. This would be the very first time that he has ever drawn a DC anything for public consumption, as far as I am aware. Massive.
That fact I wasn't aware about. I know how huge he is, but the fact that he hasn't touched anything there is wild. And it's one of those moments where a a stellar key artist or writer is jumping ship. Cool. I'd like to see it. I'm trying to pull up something on the stream right now, but the art is phenomenal.
What what do you think you have? Is there art out there?
There's like random things. He has like a Superman, Batman. I'm trying to get that working right now.
So there are pieces that Steve has drawn of Batman, but as far as I'm aware, they're not official DC licensed images. They're included in this article that I will link to you guys so that you guys can look at it. And it's all gorgeous stuff. But here's the word from the man himself. Uh this is him talking about the Cold Day in Hell book, the Daredevil book. He said, um, "I've had so much fun working with everybody and all the other fine folks at Marvel. I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to collaborate with. I'll be sure to let you know where I'm going and what I'm doing as things progress. Um, this will also wrap up my 20-year exclusive run with Marvel Comics." So by that, he has done nothing with anyone for 20 years other than Marvel, and this will be his first time at bat at DC. I can't think of a person, art-wise, who could jump ship from Marvel to DC bigger than Steve McNiven. Especially for me, for my taste, I love this man to death. I love his art to death. I can't even believe this.
other than Cold Day in Hell, what has Steve McNiven done recently?
So he's been pretty low key over the last few years.
Yeah,
What was the book? There was the book that he did. I can't remember what it is. But there was a book that he did within, I want to say it was within the last 5 years. Yeah, Nemesis. That was the one. He did the Nemesis book
Mark
with Mark
Miller.
Miller. Yeah. And then before that, his Marvel work was The Return of Wolverine in 2018, which I remember reading and enjoying, and then also just an Old Man Hawkeye variant.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really feel like this is a huge loss for Marvel. And I mean this, with no disrespect. I love Steve McNiven's work, you know, really and truly. But I feel like his stuff has sort of been few and far between. If what you're saying is accurate, then the last thing we got in the year of our Lord 2025 was 2018, at Marvel. He's not doing that much. He's living off those Civil War royalties. Uh, and then Cold Day in Hell. I kind of feel like Marvel's probably just like, yeah, it's fine.
which means that they've underutilized him. Like they they dropped the ball. This is a huge artist, somebody that probably draws a lot of attention, and you know, and to be fair, maybe he's just not interested. Right? He's on contract, but he's just not interested.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to know why we haven't seen more Steve McNiven stuff. I'm not sure, but yeah, I agree that it's not as if Marvel is reaping benefits of having him on contract.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything other than Cold Day in Hell for them in the 2020s. That's kind of nuts. So, if he wants to sort of stretch his wings and do other things, I think that's great. But I don't think that this represents anything overly negative for Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this will be really cool. This will be a great move uh to DC, and I'm sure, you know, it really feels like he's kind of in his Frank Miller bag right now.
Yeah.
I think that, if he's doing a Frank Miller Batman style story, that would fucking rule. Um, but whatever he's gonna do is gonna be awesome. Um, cool.
Putting Batman aside, because we already know he's doing Batman, is there a character you would like to see Steve tackle at DC?
I think it's someone technological. There's a lot of detail in his art. I guess he's more in that, yeah, like that Miller moment, I guess.
I'd love to see him on like Green Lantern. I'd love to see him do something weird.
What the fuck? That would be crazy cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be crazy cool. Ben Loudly says Red Hood. I was actually thinking Nightwing, but I thought that was kind of maybe a lame answer, but I was thinking Nightwing.
Maybe something wacky. Patrol.
That'd be good. Yeah. Something that's not just people.
Right.
Yeah, this could be his the second half, I guess, of his career in the sense that he could do some really brilliant stuff at DC. I feel like he could be invigorated by the fact that he's never been over there. I am very excited for what he's going to do.
So we said that about Bendis, and look how that turned out.
He did arrive.
I certainly did.
Shub Patel says Lady Shiva. And you know what? You'll put some respect on her name. And you're right.
Andrew Doe says weird aliens or monsters would be great. Swamp Thing.
Mm,
Get him goopy, get him dark.
Get 'em
yeah, I
goopy,
don't
get
like
'em
that word.
dark.
That is
That's a new catchphrase. Comics Pals 2025. Get 'em goopy, get 'em dark.
Jay Gomez says his Flash would be cool. Hmm. I'm gonna say Wonder Woman or Green Lantern. I like Cale's Green Lantern, and I'm gonna throw out Wonder Woman as well.
Last Young Renegade. Thank you. Swamp Thing Black Label book for Marco. Make it happen. Book it.
Who's writing it?
Sigh.
Fuck. Damn. Hey, James Jones, what's happening, man? Glad you made it. Glad you pulled up to hang out with us. Yeah, I think that this is a very exciting announcement. We'll see what they produce. We know that this book will drop in 2026. This was a 40-page hole that DC had in their schedule that is now being filled by Tom King and Steve McNiven, allegedly. And that's very exciting. So we will see where things go. Dan
Hmm.
Trudeau says he'll write it. He's
Well,
volunteering.
damn. If we're just throwing shit out there, I'll write it.
Shit, I'll write it. Fuck it. Throw my hat in the ring.
I won't write it.
Marco just
I,
wants to read it.
yeah, I think you're too close to the subject
That's
matter.
I've always thought that. I've always thought I'm just like I'm gonna pull something that is like just for me, and that's not gonna hit.
You don't think you have one?
Oh, I have many. They're just
Okay.
they're just not gonna be what is like consumption. I'm gonna go back like deep into fucking
Hmm.
deep into something.
Sometimes I think that about Jean Grey. Like, oh man,
He
what
wants to
would
go deep into something.
Hey yo,
whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, listen, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying sometimes I'm like, man, could I write something that would be commercially interesting as well as interesting to me? I feel like Jean Grey almost never gets written interestingly, but
So
people
you'd be
love
in
her.
good company.
I guess so.
Ugh.
I guess so. Um, Zari Severino Jr. says, I find it hard to believe that Marvel has underutilized McNiven. The way I understand it is that big names like him can always choose to work or not.
Yeah, it's hard to say they've underutilized him when they got like the biggest event they've had out of him in the past 20 years. They're still making bones on Civil War.
Yeah, if it's his decision as to whether he draws or not, I think, he probably just feels like he's done everything he needed to do at Marvel. And in a lot of ways, I would bet that Daredevil Cold Day in Hell was sort of his wanting to say goodbye, like his swan song at Marvel.
And he's writing most of that.
Yeah, Charles Soule did like the framing device and things
Hmm.
like that, but that's McNiven's baby. I wouldn't be shocked if he writes and draws something at DC at
Yeah.
some point, like a mini or something. Okay. That's 2026. So you can bet your ass we'll be talking about that book whenever it releases. Today, though, the way we're going to close things out is by saying thank you to the rest of our patrons and presenting a new Palsverse origin. So, without further ado, thank you to Steve Swarm Canaris, Panda v Panda, Ted Wong, my man, Blur Jekyll Jose, who came through earlier. Thank you so much. Scripture, the Wardens of the Word, Amin, Almighty Perez, who has been with us all day. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. Houston, the Century Kid Murphy, Peter, the Living Lightning, Electrics, Lucas, Heatwave Haldner, Young Dende, Safe Haven, Hayden's hideout. Oh no, nope. He belongs in the higher tier. He already got his shout out, but hey, why not shout him out again? Safe Haven, Hayden's hideout. Thank you for all your support today, brother. Faith Fighter, Dewooty, Shalom Paladin, Warburg, Emily the Mighty, McManus. You guys are absolutely incredible. Jesse, let me not forget Jesse, Owl Shogunate, Jack Cloutier, Austin C, Cosmic November, the man who is getting his origin right now from Marco. Marco, take it away.
Cosmic November. In the dusted room, the sage hands him a paper. He proceeds. There exists in this universe elder gods, so old that many lose their name. They simply become associated with their occupancy of space and time. They are unperturbed gods, appearing as they want, not as they are needed. I've shared with you an excerpt of one such interaction as recorded in human history. 984 AD, South America. Translated from Quechua. But a few cycles beyond harvest, Inti was blocked from the sky. Blessings were shared, but this was not a gift from our gods. Supai was at work, surely. No other demon could be so callous. First I heard the screams, then, as the world went black, the ash of righteous fire. In the gilded halls of Tomebamba, a man walked in. What exited was our legendary guardian, the Cosmic November. Covered in the hide of the caiman, feet strapped with the feathers of a harpy's eagle, and a ring carved out of the teeth of a puma. He carried a stone sword imbued with the energy of the stars. As the all-encompassing black began to pull on the blood of the people, the strike came swift and true, parting not only the elder god, but the sky, freeing it from the dark. What followed was the energy cosmic being imbued once more in the caverns of Tomebamba. In his hands, Mr. Walker looked upon the paper, then back up to the sage. Back to the paper, and then back up to the sage. The apartment they sat in was run down in the capital city of Ecuador. There was a layer of dust seemingly everywhere. Cigarette smoke hung in the air. The sage looked at Mr. Walker with a stern look, expecting a response of some kind, some level of accountability. Mr. Walker stumbled. Wait, so you're saying this ring that I'm wearing that's stuck on my finger controls this unspeakable power? One that you need to harness before the return of this unspeakable force? The sage took a drag of the cigarette and blew a ring of smoke into his face. And you don't have much time. Time to start your training. 12 months remain. So that ends. Cosmic, I have been doing some reading with Ecuador, but I've been reading some stuff about like the Quechua people, some of the beliefs and the mythology. So kind of came from that. Decided to write a little bit of a poem included in it. And I thought, you know what? The powers there of these animalistic totems, I think would be really cool for you. So the Cosmic November, a totem, animal totem powered being. Hope you enjoyed that.
Okay, interesting. Now, if you guys want your own origin from us, the way to get that, the only way to get that is patreon.com/the comics pals. If you join us um, at the I Shall Become a Pal tier, I think I actually changed the name of that, but if you join us at the appropriate tier, join the Palsverse or Palsverse Legend, you can get your nickname and a shout out on this very podcast every single week. Thank you so much to everybody who does. Hayden's Hideout pointing out that Post Pals will start in less than an hour, 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about the current era of comics 2016 to present. Consider joining the Discord if you haven't already. We are actually one member away from 400 on the Discord. So not only would it be cool for you to join for that purpose, but you would also get to hang out and be a part of Post Pals, which is a completely community run event where you guys hop on Discord and talk about whatever the subject is, in this case, modern comics. Love
It
it.
Hayden is also doing a tier ranking of the X-Men, which we have done on the show, but Hayden has completely like that was geez, last year at this point.
Mm.
Hayden has completely taken this on himself, and I'm loving getting to watch it. Um, so you guys are awesome.
Hell yeah. And thank you for doing it. And thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you tuning in. Hit the like button before you go.
Smash it.
Smash it, as it were. If you are watching Night of Champions right now, you're lucky. I wish I was. Leave your thoughts about WWE's Night of Champions in the wrestling thread on our Discord server. I'll be joining you guys when we're done with our workday. And keep in mind, Monday, Pals previews will drop. Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, you can catch us live here for Pals Pulls. And then before you know it, we're right back here at 10:15 a.m. Eastern for this show. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, you read some good comics. Thank you for being with us. Take care, guys.